Chance, what time is it?
It's Podblast time!
And there's no music.
I'm going to cut the music short because Danny can't stand my theme song, the Power Station Harvest for the World. So I'll just, for Danny's benefit, and I guess the listener too, I'll cut that. How you doing? We got a special Podblast on the road from an undisclosed location near Athens, Georgia. Hey, if you can't come to the Podblast going to come to you. That's it. So this, of course, is a friend of the show and my longtime friend, Danny Cochran, Daniel Cochran to the rest of the world. I'm one of the few that only people left call him Danny, and his daughter, Savannah, whom I've never met until today. How are you, Savannah?
Doing good. I'm very excited.
Cool. And so here's what we have on the agenda. This is going to be a comic book themed show. And we have a comparison of 3 CGC 9.6 graded comic books that are completely different in our opinion in grade. Some of them are not quite as nice as a 9.6. But we're going to go over that. But also we have an interactive game that Danny came up with to play with you today. It's called Guess the Grade. And Danny has a bunch of comics from his astounding comic book collection from various grading companies. He's covered up the grade. I don't know what the grade is. Certainly you don't know what the grade is. We're going to find out together. Only Danny knows what the grades are. So that game is called Guess the Grade. Then I'm going to tell you a true story of the White Witch of Jamaica. Very interesting, and it's comic book related. I learned about it in a Dennis the Menace comic book from 1977, plus your comments. Now, as we get started, I just want to say I am a lifelong fan of these characters called the UFOs. And these were characters introduced way back in 1980 in the Incredible Hulk issue number 254. What these guys were, they were kind of like the antithesis of the Fantastic Four. In fact, the leader of this group, the Reed Richards, if you will, of the UFOs, was kind of like an Elon Musk. He was a wealthy guy. He craved power in the comic, and he had his own launch pad. And so he wanted to intentionally get eradicated with cosmic rays like the Fantastic Four did to gain power. So he didn't have pure motivations for gaining superpowers. Hence, he's a supervillain. And I wound up getting my hands on 3 9.6 CGC graded copies of this book because I believe in 10 years, you're going to see these characters on the big screen, preferably, or certainly on Disney Plus, I would think, because they're not that obscure, and they've never fought the Fantastic Four in comic books. It's always been the Incredible Hulk or Spider-Man. And they had a revival recently. I'll show you those books. I have an Alex Ross UFOs painted cover from a recent Hulk issue from 2001. And then the UFOs fought Spider-Man, thanks to my friend Jeff Logan alerting me to this, in 2 recent Spider-Man books from December 2021 and January 2022.
Can we segue and you know, I want to talk about grading.
Yeah, go for it.
There are 3 major grading companies: CGC, CBCS, and PGX. This introduces why have comic books graded. As Chance could attest, any comic book is like, you know, from a 0 to a 10. And
you don't see 10s very often.
Very often. Yeah.
9.8 is usually the highest grade I've ever seen.
So the difference between a 3.0 and a 5, or a 5 to a 7, when it comes to very valuable comics, can mean hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. So individuals in the hobby send comic books off to get graded, to get a grade on it, it makes it easier to sell because if it's worth $5,000 and it's in my opinion, and I'm like listing it on eBay and going like, oh, in my opinion, it's very nice. It's not going to command the same dollar amount as a book with a grade on it. I get some books graded, just out of preservation, where as an old book, and I just want it kept safe. Um, in a comic book slab, some people just don't like it, because
Slab.
you can't read it, you can't look at the art, but
you can't smell the comic book. You can't hold the
Flip
comic
through
book.
it.
Yeah.
but it does have value to have the book graded.
And
Now-
advantages, yeah.
The biggest question mark is how accurate are the comic book grading companies' grades? Where, once again, like the difference between a 4 or a 5 could be worth a difference of hundreds of thousands of dollars, and you send your book in good faith, and like, oh wait, why is this a 3? Why is this a 4? Why is this a 5? The only company that you can actually spend an extra $5 to have the notes about the grade is PGX. Now,
And don't laugh.
the conventional wisdom is that CGC is the #1 grading company. And I'm like, why? They cost more. They don't do in-house pressing and dry cleaning, which means like they're sending your books off and it's
To a
getting
third party.
to a third party, is getting sent back. They don't do signature verification where they just count it'd be like Stan Lee, and they're like, well, that's damage. Name written on cover. But once again, the conventional wisdom is that they are the best company. So what we're gonna do here is actually examine graded comic books so we can learn together the disparities between the companies, and maybe opinions might vary based on this information. So Chance has 3 graded copies
9.6.
of a 9.6. And even for a layperson, you can look at these comics. The 3, it's the same comic book, and realize that there's a difference between these. And so you go, well, wait a second. How is this a 9.6 and this a 9.6? And you spent the money for it, assuming it was a 9.6 because it has a grade. And you spend the money on it because it's got that CGC pedigree where everyone's like, they can do no wrong. So I'm going to turn the mic over to Chance for a little bit and let him show these 3 comic books. And you don't have to be an expert. You can actually see that these are not all 3 the same. So we're going to start there. I'm going to pass the mic to Chance.
Nice setup, Danny. Thanks for that information. You're absolutely right. This is not a shaming video, as I said in the brief introduction. This is an educational video. We're going to start, as Danny said, with 3 9.6 CGC graded books that are way different in appearance, which you'll see up close and personal on camera. And as Danny's getting it set up, so you can see a close shot of each book, I want to mention that I am a lifelong UFOs fan. When I was a kid, when I was 13 years of age, way back in 1984, I'm old as dirt, I mailed in a fan letter, which was published in the Incredible Hulk issue number 296. And in that letter, I mentioned the UFOs need their own limited series. Back in those days, there were limited series like Wolverine, issues 1, 2, 3, and 4. Savannah, I don't know if they can see that. Thank you for holding that up. I just don't know if anyone can make out the letter. But anyway, that's the cover. By the way, I think that might be the very first slab. My mom actually was so sweet. She contacted a framing company back in 1984, and they all came up with the concept. Let's cut into the book, which we know is a no-no, but I have multiple copies of this book. It's not worth much yet. I think Rom, even though he's owned by Parker Brothers, may wind up in the MCU. We'll see. Just like people thought the Fantastic Four wouldn't be in the MCU. Now they are, because Disney bought 20th Century Fox. But anyway, just to demonstrate that I am a lifelong UFOs fan. Hence, that's why I bought these books. It's not to be an investor or for any reason other than being a pure fan of these characters. I've always loved these characters. So here's the first issue, which I believe, the first graded copy, which I believe is a true 9.6, if not a 9.8. CGC did a great job with this book. You're not going to put the thing up there, Danny? Yeah. So you don't have to hold it, just for your benefit. We're doing this live, folks. There you go. And yes, there you go. So you can relax a little. Whoa. There we go. There's the front of the comic book. There, it's flawless. I don't see any color breaking creases. I don't see any fold creases. I don't see any pen marks. I don't see any stains. I don't see any what they call foxing. Any issues. Show the back, Danny. Thank you, Danny. The back is just as clean and just as beautiful. That's a true 9.6. So now we can retire that one and get to the next 9.6 CGC. Danny, you're not on mic. You might want to get. Let me here, take the mic. You got something to add?
Well, I would talk about like the centering of the cover to the pages, because we're going to see here where there is an off-centered cover to the pages. So if this is a true 9.6, and here's another copy where the cover is off-centered from the pages, how is this an equal grade?
And you make a good point about the pages. 2 of these are white pages. 1 is off-white. Now, supposedly, the cover is what CGC counts most in terms of the grade. That's the biggest part of the criteria, is the cover front and back, right? Is that not what you believe to be true, Danny? The cover really makes.
I mean, certainly like that can like cause you a big ding in terms of like the grading, where if there's like some water stain on the cover, but you know, if some kid wrote his name like Billy on like page 3, they do look at that. If there's a coupon cut out, if somebody like in comic books, they had like,
it'll say incomplete pages. It'll say cut out.
Yeah.
There'll be notes or notations. By the way, on the CGC website, you mentioned this. It may not say unless you pay to have the notes on the slab. You can go to their website, enter the serial number,
yeah,
and you can see why they determined that grade.
So they're calling this a 9.6.
And we agree. Do you not agree it's a 9.6?
I agree, especially compared to the other 2 issues, the same issues as well. And you can see, I mean, visibly how they differentiate between each other. And
so let's get to the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah, here's the next one. So this might even be a 9.8, but I agree. We all agree we're
at least a 9.6.
It's unanimous. So now here is the next one I want to show you. And by the way, the one we just went over, yeah, there's no notes. It does say white pages. Here's the next one. Another 9.6. It also has white pages, but there's something wrong with it. Not necessarily on the front of the cover, but on the back.
And this is what he's talking about. Right there.
Ink pen mark. Could that be cleaned away, in your opinion? Ink.
No.
Right. To me, that's a 9.0. I paid for a 9.6. Now, full disclosure, all of these 3 9.6s I bought aftermarket. I bought them from a third party, so I didn't pay to have them graded by CGC. I bought them already graded. Just full disclosure. Doesn't matter for the purposes of our debate today, but I just thought I'd share that with you. So there's that one.
Also say, hold up, though, with this one, it's not just the pen markings. It's also rolled over
Yeah.
off
good
center
point.
here.
Good point.
You can see right here how this,
The cover.
and then even here, when you compare the different comics of the same issue, this is off center because it is rolled. So I would agree with you. It's not a 9.6, especially compared to the first 9.6
Supposed
that you
9.6.
saw. Yeah,
And and also it says white pages, but look, I don't know if it picks up on the camera. Look, then look yellow to you,
it's definitely more of an
Brownish?
white, I would say.
and it says white pages. Anyway, so that pen mark is the reason I say BS. This is not a 9.6.
definitely not as pristine as the first one, that's for sure.
Let's go around the round table. What would you grade it with that pen mark?
With the pen mark, I would say a 9 at the most. And then also with the rolled, I mean, maybe even as low as an 8.5.
I would go like a 9 to a 9.2.
Okay.
I mean, there's damage. It's not significant. It's not major. Um, uh, looking at like an 8 or an 8.5. I mean, you have to understand, like in grading for comics, there is a criteria. I don't have that in front of me right now, but there's certain damage where it immediately, it's like if you have a rusty staple, you're a 5. It does not matter how good the comic book is beyond that. Rusty staple, it's a 5. Missing,
Missing.
it's a point, a point, a 0.05. So it doesn't matter how great the comic book is. There are certain criteria. If the corner's clipped out, I had a Marvel Spotlight 5 first appearance of Ghost Rider that, and I think comic book shops did this, selling books, and they clipped off the corner. Immediately, it was a 3. And it was gorgeous. White pages, gorgeous. It was immediately a 3 because of the criteria of grading. But if you're looking at 9.6s, you're looking at near perfection. Like near perfection.
It's closer to 10.
And so it's like if you're looking at a couple of issues of 9.6s and you're like, well, wait, I can see this is off center. They can't both be 9.6s.
If one's visibly nicer looking than the other 9.6.
Yeah.
And that begs the question, how does CGC in particular actually do the grading? Because you noted earlier with PGX that they will actually put the notes, like in the front right here. You can see of this Fantastic Four number 6 issue, it says first Marvel villain team up. It shows you first appearances. It'll also note any sort of damages to it. So on the back here, it says 2 holes punched through book, cover edge, 2 staple pop on both staples. So the thing with CGC that you noted earlier, not on camera or on live, you can look up the number and see the notes on there, but it still is like, how are you actually grading this? And especially with these 3 9.6s, and I'm sure we're just about to show you the third, like, how are you grading these and not seeing those differences and not grading them differently? How are these all 9.6s, but we can just look at them and see
There's difference.
disparities?
We have someone actually that is watching live that asked for the serial numbers, and I'm sending them to him now, and he's going to read us the notes online on the CGC
Awesome.
website.
Thank you, listener.
And while I do that, would you talk a little bit about restoration grades? If I didn't mean to throw this at you as a monkey wrench. If you don't want to speak to that, we can just in layman's terms explain how that's taken away, the restoration aspect. All right, or we can talk about signatures. There's all sorts of different levels and different color codings to CGC specifically.
There's a blue label where they just grade it on the apparent grade. there is a yellow label, which is a signature label. But once again, like CGC is the only of the 3 companies that does not verify a signature unless they had a representative that witnessed it. So,
Which is frustrating when I had Walt Simonson sign Thor 337 first beta ray bill back in 1983, and he's got a very unique signature. Any comic book person out there knows Walt Simonson, the O and the, it's very specific, but to with their standards, that doesn't count. It's damage. Frustrating.
Yeah.
But I get it.
I don't get it.
I only got one more skill numbers.
I mean, if somebody can take a baseball that has the name of Babe Ruth on it, 80 years later
versus a regular baseball. That's the thing that we're comparing, is how a signature actually
there's people that
has
verify
advantage.
signatures. So
Right, authenticators.
right,
Yeah.
if you're a comic book grading company, how do you not provide that service to go
Huge
like Stan
companies.
Lee, Jack Kirby, Cochran, like how do you not provide that service for someone to send in a comic book, which increases its value because a lot of these people are dying off.
Oh, God.
They're not signing any more comic books. So to have a comic book signed by Jack Kirby or whoever, that actually increases the value. But you're calling it damage because you did not have a witness to verify the signature. However, your 2 competitors, CBCS and PGX, provide that service to verify the signature, thus increasing the value of the comic book. This is my arc on this is everyone says CGC is the #1 grading company. From my experience, from what I witness, from the stories I hear, from the videos I watch, I cry BS. I think they've gotten complacent. I think they've gotten to the point where they're riding on their reputation. And they're like, we can just increase your waiting time, how much we charge you, the limited services that we offer you, and you're going to gobble it up because there's no option. However, there actually is an option. And we're getting into some comic books here. And even for lay people, you're going to see that there's a huge disparity when it comes to their grading. I mean, Chance is talking 9.6s. So those are all near perfect. And you can see clearly differences. But I'm going to show you some stuff that's glaringly stupid. But everyone's like, oh, CGC is #1. So I'm going to pass the mic to Chance.
Okay. We have an update. Our viewer, Jeff Logan, who checked all the serial numbers, I texted him, all of them are unavailable on the website. Don't know what that means. All 3 books, grader notes unavailable. So let's go ahead and go with the third and final. And that's pretty, I'm not trying to toot my own horn. The reason I called Danny and said, Danny, we've got to do a video about this because it's rare where someone has 3 9.6 CGC graded books to compare. And again, this is not a shaming video. We're just trying to shed some light. It's an educational video. I hope that they make it more clear their standards for grading. Maybe they changed their standards and one was graded before they had new criteria. I don't know. I mean, I'm just trying to play devil's advocate. This is just a reality check for the comic book collector who invests a lot of money in grading. Look, I got a problem with how they even calculate what they charge. Instead of a flat rate, they make you guesstimate what you think the book is worth. And then they charge a percentage of that. Or am I incorrect? Because I've never submitted. I've always bought pre-graded books.
CGC is the only company that charges a percentage of the value of the book. So as opposed to being a flat fee, okay, it costs $20, $25. And CGC keeps raising their prices, so I don't even know where they're at. But if you send in a book that's worth 5,000, I think it's anything over 4,000, they charge you a percentage. They also charge you.
So they can get more money.
They also charge you a membership fee. Like I can't just send in a book to PGX, or excuse me, CGC. I actually have to be a member. That's $250 off the rip.
Yeah.
And if I send in a book, let's just say Hulk 181, and it's worth over $4,000, they charge you a percentage of the value of that book to have it graded. They're the only company that does this. So,
Is it a flat percentage? Like how much is that percentage? Or does it just vary based on the value of the book getting graded?
I think it's a flat percentage, but this goes back to what I'm saying. It's like, dude, I don't care if the book came out last week, last month, last year, a decade ago, 50 years ago. The service you're providing is exactly the same. You're flipping through the comic book, you're looking at the cover, flipping through the pages, counting the pages, looking for damage. The value of the book is incidental to what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right.
And for you to go, oh, wow, this is worth $15,000. We're now going to charge you a percentage where
To
it's
just
not
get it graded.
costing you.
That's mafia tactics.
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
It's definitely corrupt
You want some
capitalism at its
protection?
finest.
You got to pay a protection insurance policy.
Now, I
Yeah.
also ask myself the question, is it not in their best interest at that point to grade a book higher? So, all right.
If they're getting a higher percentage.
So I submit Superman #2 at grade a 5.0, and that's worth $10,000. But you're charging a percentage of the value.
Right.
And if you grade it a 6, and now as opposed to be worth $10,000, it's worth $18,000. Doesn't that benefit you?
Yeah.
So I question that where
The
it's
authenticity. Of
right. It's like,
the
dude,
grade
you're benefiting yourself
by grading it more.
because you're charging a different price.
Right.
Now, I'm also like, dude, I don't care if it's Action Comics 1, Detective Comics 27, Giant Size X-Men 1. The service you're providing is exactly the same. You're looking at the cover, you're counting the pages, you're like, oh, is like what like
Coloration.
paper quality.
Yeah.
You know, is it white pages, off-white pages, cream, you know, you're looking for interior damage. And so it doesn't matter the value of the book.
I would just have an update. I was just informed that CGC is free to join, but you get perks for higher membership. Kind of like GoCollect.com went to paid membership where you can see all of the final values of actual graded comic sales online.
Jeff Logan likes CGC.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, he's given us, but he's given us accurate
So
information.
then what are like all of the benefits then? Like, I understand you can join for free, but then if you pay this money, what exactly are you getting out of it? Like, what do you find advantageous of getting that membership?
I do know the answer to part of this. I think you get a discount on submissions.
Grading?
On submissions.
Okay.
But now I have heard this is in a speculation rumor.
The membership.
The paid membership. Jeff, if you're still out there, let us know how much the paid membership is, if you don't mind. And it must be annually, I'm sure, not monthly. Let me see something else here. Oh gosh. And I want to mention, you might be watching this on Danny's channel, Daniel Cochran, formerly Kraken's Lair Comics, like Release the Kraken, Clash of the Titans, which recently had a big anniversary, by the way, that movie. Remember that movie, Clash of the Titans? Anyway, because we're going to simulcast this on his channel. So we're doing this as a Nostalgic Podblast live stream. But anyway, that's besides the point. We should get to the third and final 9.6 graded Incredible Hulk issue 254, the first appearance of the UFOs from September 1980 street date, December 1980 cover date. And again, this is one that, in my opinion, is not a 9.6. You might be asking, why do you have three 9.6s? Because I wanted a real 9.6. The first two I got had flaws. The one that you've already seen with the pen mark on the back, my gosh, not cool. And then this one. Danny, if you don't mind holding that up for the camera. And then I'll give you the mic after I say what I have to say about it, and you can add your 2 cents. This one, by the way, has off-white pages.
Yeah, you can definitely see.
You can see it. All right, it's off center. In person, it's even worse. But
You can see,
well, you can't really hear. Here, go ahead.
you can see the pages extend beyond the cover. Like, it's not centered at all.
Especially in the back and the front, really.
Look at this corner. So if this is a 9.6 with this damage, how are the other ones a 9.6? Or the other way to look at it is, if the other ones are a 9.6, there is no way that this is a 9.6, because you can't have it off centered. And
devil's advocate, someone might say, well, they don't count off if it's off center. Hell, that might have happened when it was slabbed, for all we know. Maybe someone graded at 9.6 and that got damaged, or something went wrong with the suction process or whatever, and it got folded up like that. I don't know. Another thing is, I've always said this, and again, I sound like I'm bashing CGC and grading companies in general, but this is not just a CGC thing. This is across the board. Who's to say that you might get more leniency if the grader's in a better mood? Meaning, say it's payday, it's Friday, they get your submission. Maybe they'll be in a better mood. There's a human factor to grading, in my opinion. What if they got it on a Monday morning when they're hungover or not happy because it's a Monday, manic Monday?
I mean, human flaw definitely should be in consideration when it comes to the grading process, because it's not like everything is robotic nowadays. There is still some sort of human involvement, and especially when it comes to grading, it could also be a matter of opinion. I mean, even when looking at the grading and you asking us how we would grade the second 9.6 that you showed on camera, we gave a range of different answers to how we would personally grade it. So I think definitely human bias should be considered when it comes to the grading process. And I would definitely love to know, I'm sure they have somewhere, a list of rules and kind of how they go about it as a process. But I definitely think when you have a human doing it, there is going to be some sort of bias and error when it comes to that.
Absolutely. And now I've heard representatives from CGC in online forums where I raised that very point have said, yes, but we have a quality control process. There's more than one grader. Well, then how do you explain the discrepancies with these 9.6 Incredible Hulk issue 254s that I've shown you today? I mean, that we've shown you. It's the human element. Now we're going to get to the game in just a moment. Danny has come up with a great game, interactive game. Well, wait, hold on. Wait 1 second. I just want to wrap this up. I want to show real quick, Danny, I need your help. This Eternals, we're going to wrap up the CGC debate. Here's an 8.5 Eternals issue number 2. And I want you, the viewer on YouTube Live of the Nostalgic Podblast, to let me know, do you see anything wrong with this book? It was graded an 8.5. There's the front. Here comes the back. All three of us have looked at that book. We cannot see what the issue is. There's nothing to determine on notes. Maybe I should send the serial number to Jeff, our friend who's watching. I mean, now that book is tanked, by the way. It's immaterial to this discussion, but the Eternals, because the movie was so panned, the value of that whole. I bought that thinking it would be a good investment, and I'm not an investor.
Atlantis mentioned in MCU
Atlantis mentioned. I thought it was something with Submariner.
because it's the first mention of Atlantis.
Atlantis was mentioned in FF Annual 1, though, in the 1960s.
Are we talking about films? Like the
We shouldn't even go on there. I didn't mean to confuse him. Well, it doesn't matter. The point is that to me, guys, I want to go to the round table. What would you grade that book? And I know it's hard on camera to see it, but you can see it well enough. It looks immaculate to me. I would say I'll start with my estimation. I was going to say a 9.4 or a 9.6. I revised that. It would be a 9.6. Like those whole
say a 9.6 as well. I mean, because in person it's beautiful. I mean, you really can't see, at least, when it's slabbed visibly, there is no flaw or defect that I can find with it.
Okay. This is a good segue. PGX, CGC. Savannah.
Oh, well, we're gonna play a game, right?
No.
What can I say? I got a quick update, real quick, and then we'll go into your game. I'm sorry. Oh, I mean, we'll get into that in just a second. I'm flubbering. Jeff did look up those serial numbers, and although we don't have the notes, just for incidental purposes, this one with the off-center book where it's mispressed was graded on April 6, 2022, because we're talking about maybe they adopted different policies at different points in time, different standards, different rules. And then this one with the perfect one, the one I think is a true 9.6 or 9.8, was graded on February 6th, 2023, not too long ago. This is the one that I was happy with. I finally, 3 times a charm, I finally got a true Hulk 254 9.6. And then the one with the pen mark on the back, just for shits and giggles, family show, sorry, was graded on, I got that screwed up. Oh my God. This one with the pen mark was graded on February 6, 2023. The perfect one was graded even more recently on April 14th, 2023. So there you go. Anyway, I messed that up, but I recovered, thankfully. Now I'm going to turn the mic over to Danny, and Jeff sent me some more information. All right, here is you asked about what does membership get you? There's an associate level of CGC membership for $25. And it gets you full access to online resources. So that's probably why we can't see the notes, because we're not members. I bet if I registered for free, maybe I could see them. Anyway, full access to online resources, full submission privileges, free grader notes for comics when available, 10% off the CGC store, and $15 CGC shipping kit voucher for new members. There's a $149 premium membership level where you get full access to online resources, full submission privileges, free grader notes for comics when available, 10% off the CGC store, $20 CGC shipping kit voucher for new members, and $150 credit with CGC. The last one is Elite, $299. And again, it doesn't say per year. It must be per year. I'm going to assume it's per year. It can't be per month, per year. Let's just say per year.
Ask Jeff what their current turnaround time is.
Jeff, if you're still watching, what's the current turnaround time for CGC? He just sent some in. He sent in the first appearance of Ghost Rider, Marvel Spotlight 5, and some other key books. Hopefully he doesn't mind me sharing that with y'all. And so that's in the mail. Yeah, let us know. Text me. But the Elite, this is the final one I'll say. The Elite package of CGC paid membership for $300 a year, $299, gets you full access to online resources, just like all the other packages, full submission privileges, free grader notes with comics when available, 10% off the CGC store, 10% off CGC grading tiers. Now, at last, Danny, I'm sorry. I just wanted to come full circle. And then I brought another graded book. We can talk about that as we wind down the show, another CGC graded book. Now, Danny's got some really cool stuff he's planned, and I'm going to just shut the hell up and hear what he's got planned.
So here's 3 graded books. Let me see. Wait. I gotta see what they are. I think it's 2 PGX and 1 CGC. Savannah,
Okay.
how would you grade those?
All right. Give me a second.
And remember,
Well-
if she's going to say something, we got to. I'll handle the mic. I'll just work the mic for y'all.
Well, these.
I'll be the boom operator.
Well, I want Chance to have the same opportunity to examine these
Yeah, I'm
books.
gonna come sit back
Yeah.
down.
Okay. Oh, she's just standing for
Alrighty.
the camera. Okay.
Yeah.
And I can look at it here, even though it's in reverse on my monitor.
So after kind of looking through these three that my dad has brought out for me to look at, I do want to point out these are all newer issues. Definitely within the last this one says August 9th. This one is definitely at least 2018.
09.
09. Yeah. So August 2009. This one says something about 2018, and then when you look at the back of it, on this one, it has stuff about Xbox 360. So I feel like year has something to do with these because these are all newer. The condition of these are pretty nice. I would definitely give all three of these at least a 9. The first one that the camera sees,
This is from 2015.
2015. I will say with this first one,
2009.
Next Man, it is a first appearance of Hellboy, correct?
Correct.
So I like the art style as well. It's very reminiscent of like 90s art, like Neil Gaiman a little bit, Sandman. That's just kind of a tidbit, but
John Byrne.
but I will say on the spine there is a little bit of creasing on it, and then just a hair at the bottom you can see.
How would you grade it?
Well, I'm getting there. I would
train her well, Danny.
color absolutely phenomenal, and then this is PGX, so you can see in the front of it has some notes of the artist, and then the first appearance of Hellboy as well on there. So those are some of the notes that you get from PGX. I would definitely say this one would probably be at least like definitely a 9 and above. I'm gonna say a 9.5 for that one.
Do I get a guess too?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Oh no. Okay. So I'm just trying to guess the grade, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I won't go into all that detail because I was listening and she did a great estimation of the flaws of this book. John Byrne. I'd straight up, if I were to grade that, and this is a PGX graded book, says in the back.
It's not a trick. I mean,
I know. I'm thinking. We didn't. This is live. We didn't prepare this. I mean, we just.
It is
He just-
slightly a hair off center, and I think that's more just how it was slabbed. But
Yeah.
if you do look at the spine, there is a little bit of damage there, just a little bit.
I would say, as we're live, we got an update in the U.S. Coast Guard. All those people are presumed dead. That's terrible. This you might be watching this in 2025, but you remember the Titanic. Anyway, I'm getting back on track. God bless the souls of those people. They're all gone. We knew that. Can you imagine the air running out in that little tin can? Just knowing you're doomed. Oh
Similar to
God.
Titanic, half of them probably had panic and just their heart.
And they were wealthy, like most of the passengers on the Titanic back in, what was that, 2012? I saw that movie. I can't remember the name. I forget. All right, Danny's shaking. He said, get back on topic.
Anyways.
All right, I will just say a 9.2.
All right.
Did you guess? Or did
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I
should be listening.
I
You
would
got two
say
more.
a 9.5 for that one. That's my last final
Okay.
answer.
All right, and I got to hurry this along. I don't see 9.6.
I would agree with that. 9.6. You don't see any sort of color creasing. It looks really great. I mean, yeah, 9.6. Yeah. And then even the pages you can see definitely white. So 9.6 for that, the Venom.
And Danny, you
number
said
3.
you probably said this, forgive me. You sent these in yourself or did you buy them already graded?
Both these I bought graded.
Okay. But this one in my hand, you submitted yourself?
Bought that graded.
Okay.
I love the cover art for that one. Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn. They look
I would
awesome.
have to say.
First.
Oh, there is a dinged corner. Maybe you mentioned that.
Ooh, yeah, there
Gotham
is.
City Sirens.
See, this is not good for the viewer. I need to hold it up for the camera a little better. There's a dinged corner. Is that showing it? Yeah. There's a dinged corner. Lower. Gosh, it's reversed, so I can't tell what side it's on. But all right, I'm just going to throw. I need to hurry this along. 8.5 because of that corner. No. I checked that. I've got to give it a 9. It's got to be a 9. 9.0. So now Danny's going to reveal, and let's do this on camera. Danny, get up for the camera and do it, please. Please. We got to have some good action for the viewer now. He just took the tape off. There you go.
Right, so Venom, I think we got that one right. 9.6. Woo!
I'll help you. And I'll put that back here on your chair. Yeah, that was, and also later as Danny's, I'm going to briefly, after we're done with the grading segment, talk about Marvel's Secret Invasion, which dropped on Disney Plus. Star Trek Strange New World Season 2 is dropped on Paramount Plus. All right, here we go. Danny's
So
revealed.
a 9.6. Is it?
Wow.
So the notes on there just say John Byrne for the art, and then Hellboy first appearance, and then what was it did have a third comment on there. Yeah.
I'll hold it.
9.6.
9.6. All three are 9.6s.
The grade of the day, if you count my whole 254.
And again, a common theme that we've been seeing is the
wait,
discrepancies
so-
between the 9.6s.
that corner, that's
Absolutely.
BS.
So here's CGC, a
Right.
9.6,
I do agree.
Compare
with
this
this one 9.6
to your
though.
off-centered Hulk.
Right.
If that's a 9.6,
You're right.
And even, I mean, the first
And
this one-
9.6
well,
that we all agreed
and I'm gonna
was
say,
a true 9.6.
for comic book people,
What you
dude, this is a white cover. A white cover. This is very difficult to get in a 9.6. Very difficult.
There's
my So-
center one right there.
So if this is a 9.6,
What the hell's going on here?
so let's assume this is CGC, all right? How is this a 9.6? Where's off center?
Yeah.
This is off white to white pages.
Yeah.
This is white pages.
And same
No, no off white. It's white pages.
I guess they don't give a crap about white versus off white or something.
Now, I would agree.
or creases, and I mean,
I go okay, why is this a 9.6 and not a 9.8?
and I mean, which was the one that literally had a I think it was
The ding corner. Look at that corner. I gotta hold that up for the camera again. That is a blunted corner.
I mean, you can
Bottom left
definitely-
corner.
it's
Or was it bottom right?
plain as day.
There she goes. Thank you for holding that up. Oh, we have an update while you're doing that. The current turnaround time of CGC. Jeff Logan reports in 20 days for modern books, 30 days for vintage pre-1975, and 10 days for high-value books. And I've heard a rumor, did I say this earlier, that dealers get more leniency with grading because they want to have them converted as regular customers.
I'm seeing where it's taking months to get books back from.
It was supposedly they hired a bunch of new graders. But yeah, look at that. Thank you, Savannah, for holding that up. That's a 9.6. Again, we're not picking on this company. I just want to understand. This is an educational video. I just want to understand.
All right.
How is there
Thank you, Jeff, for that report. Next, that's the next man. He's just mulling over the other 9.6. All right, so what do you have next, Danny? He's got some Silver Age comics coming up. Fantastic Four, Amazing Spider-Man, some really key books. You're going to get excited to see these, folks. And guess the grade. Leave a comment if you want to play along.
I'm going to hand these to Savannah first.
Oh gosh, that's a lot.
No, we're going to make this go quicker.
Okay.
put these in order of lowest to
The
highest.
highest. Okay.
Cool.
All right.
Those are all CGC graded books.
Awesome books.
Chance.
I would definitely
Put these lowest to highest.
And then what are you going to talk about?
Ooh, off the rip, I'm gonna say a 3.
Just
So
lowest to highest.
3 here.
I thought you sold this one. I'm glad you still have it.
Oof.
Nice. Ooh, these are some super keys.
Actually, I'm gonna put this one lower than Fantastic.
What I'm trying to illustrate here is
This
there's
one?
certainly a couple of comics in here that I think got graded very low, and some that got graded
Okay.
higher than they should have been.
This one higher,
Yeah,
I think,
do it however you
color.
want. Do it however you want.
There is a decent amount of breakage, especially on the corners. A lot of these have color breaking creases, especially along the spine. This one has a little bit of damage to the back. Looks like it could be some just like pen scuffing. But I'm probably going to put this in between. Yeah, I'm going to put this one in between there. Strange Tales.
Well, we want people to see on camera. We're going to show them.
Oh
these
yeah,
books?
no.
Okay.
I'm,
When you reveal, right?
and
Well done.
once Savannah puts these in her order, we're gonna flip flop.
Okay.
Okay. Actually, I think, honestly, that one goes there. For sure. This one actually might be it.
So what they're doing there is they're shuffling through these graded books that they cannot see the grade because I've got it covered up with
This
painter's
actually
tape,
looks nice.
and I'm going to.
I'm gonna say this
One of them has a stack of PGX comics. One of them has a stack of CGC
Ah, interesting.
graded comics. And once they put them in the order they think, I'm going to have them trade off to, put them in order that they think.
Okay, I think I feel okay with my order.
And we're going to see how this plays out.
Yeah.
Jack
I like it.
Kirby, Stan. I feel like these are probably the same graded. Graded the same.
Now, I will say my lovely and amazing daughter is not a comic book person.
No.
She has learned some stuff over the years. But also, Chance does not send in comic books to be graded. And
Not yet, but now I don't know if I want to.
But I will say, like, you learn from sending off books and having them come back. It makes you more able to look at a comic book and not with love and start to like actually gauge a condition.
Mhm.
And that's why when you get a grade on a book and go, wait, there is no way that this is that grade. It's not an uninformed decision. It's based on experience.
And it's really not funny. I laugh, but the way you put it, it's just. I'll just say it. Sometimes grading, it's like a shell game. Grading's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. Like Forrest Gump said about the box of chocolates. I guess that wasn't very funny.
I'm not. Okay.
Grading
I'm
comics,
good.
All right.
Okay.
it's like a box.
So
Box of chocolates.
So bottom is bottom.
So high grade to low grade.
Yeah.
Pass it to Chance.
Okay.
And just see if I agree.
Well, no, like
And we're gonna do the reveal now.
High grade on top to low grade on
I
bottom.
figure like you know more about comics.
So you want me to guess the grade? Duh.
No. I want you to put those into
In-
what you think.
Okay.
The order is-
She's got this
I've got
highest,
them
to the
that's
lowest,
the highest
and
in my
I want you to
opinion.
get that stack, Mono.
Okay. sort
There's
of
a reason
switching
I
off.
did what I did.
So
You
so
did.
so this is like
Okay.
this
You did
unbiased.
lowest to bottom.
Yeah,
it-
highest to lowest.
Okay.
So if there's any tweaking of this is a two-party unbiased looking. Chance knows more about
Unrehearsed.
Chance knows more about comic books than my daughter. But here's an opportunity for two different people as amateur graders to go.
Wait a minute. That looks like tape.
Here's the opportunity for amateur graders just looking at the condition of the comic books
With the bottom two.
to.
I agree with most. I only see one substitution I would make a first stack.
All right, cool.
It's a slight one. It's at the
All right.
bottom too.
All right.
I would
Okay.
probably.
And we're gonna
actually
we're gonna
maybe
do the
have a
reveal.
substitution.
We're gonna do the reveal.
Do it. I mean, and just remember. Let's each. I'll remember what I did. So we can
Okay.
talk about
There is just like pen there.
it. That's why. That's one of the ones I'm talking about. It, but based on the pen mark they said was okay on my Hulk 254 with the pen mark in the back, even though that's way more than just a little.
Well,
mark.
and
I was about to say,
we're
this is
and-
very
and we're
flexible.
not we're not even gonna go like
Well, that's why I put that higher.
where I'm challenging. I'm not challenging them like
Yeah.
what grade do you think this
Well, are we
is?
doing it like how it should be?
It should,
or-
in your opinion, how it should be.
I would definitely put this at least above this. For actually no.
So it's not about like what grade do you think this is. It's going to illustrate a point that there are books that appear a lower grade that sometimes grade higher. And there's books that grade lower that should be higher.
that has binder.
And so
Right, that's why I put it
Yeah.
at the bottom.
so this is
Yeah,
independent.
Okay.
Independent.
Yeah, I think I just changed
One-
that
influence you.
One
No, no,
one
no,
one
no, no.
one novice, one
But that one is rolled.
more knowledgeable comic book collector.
But this one has a bunch of chippings on the top, so I'm gonna keep that there. Same with this one. Also off center. Chipped in the corners. Bunch of chips. This is the one with the name written right on the front in pen.
Yeah, that really. I will say that is the second appearance of Iron Man ever,
Oh, okay, wait,
and
that's not a page missing. No.
I.
I'm gonna put this one
It's the
in.
second appearance of Iron Man ever,
Yeah.
and I did have to buy
Alright,
one I could
we're
afford.
good. Oh,
All right,
All right.
let's get started for the viewer. I think that might have been a little boring.
yeah.
While we're-
Sorry.
No, not for you. I mean, for me, for both of us doing this one, but it's still fun. Here we go. Of course, it's fun. What are you doing? Oh.
no, we're doing this.
Oh no, I know. I didn't say we weren't.
Listen to this guy.
We're doing it.
Of course we are. You did all the tape. No, I didn't mean. I meant us
So guys,
arranging.
guys,
Okay.
this is highest to lowest.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm scared. I do feel like with both of us looking, I mean, I feel like
guys
we
have-
did a pretty accurate assessment.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, I like my
Again,
dad said,
again,
I don't
again.
have much
Okay,
knowledge.
highest to lowest.
Right.
Yes.
That's what
All
we
right.
did.
So we got lowest on top.
All right.
Here's the reveal. Here's the fun part for the viewer.
Okay. What grade is this, Chance?
Ooh. It's got tape on the back. I graded this one the lowest of that stack.
Both of
Real
you.
quick.
Yeah.
A 3.0.
I would say maybe 3.0 as well. Yeah.
Yep.
Here's the reveal. Drum roll. Oh, shoot. I forgot my music. I got a little piece of audio. Hang on. Don't do it yet, Danny. Give me a sec. I said 3.0. What did you agree?
I said 3.0, yeah.
Okay. All right. Ready for the reveal? Here we go. Hang on.
I don't think here we go. CGC, both of them nailed it.
3.0. Woo!
Good job. High five, kiddo.
We did that.
Yeah, so we're gonna do 1 for 1.
Oh, what the hell was that? Oh, that was
Empty.
okay. I thought I knocked something over.
Okay, this was the bottom tiered PGX.
That has binder. I would grade it lower than, I mean, the 3.0.
Did you already reveal it? Which one is that? The binder?
Yeah,
I
the
can't see it.
binder.
Did you take the tape off it? I don't want to see.
Hold on, tips on.
The tape's on. Shucks. I would say because of those holes, the thing is, it's a beautiful copy. If not for those binder holes, it's like immaculate. That's from friggin' 1962. It was slipping. I didn't want it to fall. That's a good thing about grading. It wouldn't hurt. It's shatterproof if it hit the ground anyway, but still, it made me nervous. All right. We got to hurry this along for the viewer. So I will just, that's an unknown, those.
I didn't know.
What do you?
Graded. And it sucks because it has white pages.
Did you mention
from 1963?
I thought it was 62. It's 62. I know it is because I brought an FF7 that is 1962.
62.
But listen, here's the thing: is it affecting the story? Those holes? Did you mention that? I don't think it is. Well, we don't know now unless you remember because it's sealed. We can't open it up and look.
Yeah, no, I graded it. So
I think they would have said in the notes because that's PGX where they give you notes.
Yep.
If the holes had affected the artwork of the story.
there's the notes.
All right.
There's
That's a killer comment. That's the second appearance of Dr. Doom, for goodness sakes.
There's the notes. So where are we at?
Kiddo, what do you think?
It's difficult because I don't know the grading process, but I feel like the binder holes itself might also knock it down to like a 3.5.
3.0.
And I was so nervous when I said
Music.
this one.
I know, I messed up. Wait a minute. Yeah, I did, because I got to put it in the machine now. Okay, we're ready.
If it's lower than that, that is going to be very sad.
All right. Hang on, folks. Hang on to your hat.
4.0.
And that's a very, I think that's a realistic grade and a rather lenient grade, but it's an unknown. I've never seen a comic book where someone had put notebook binder holes in there to put in a notebook with these holes.
Yes.
So your point is you think this was an unfair grade?
I think that's
No, like, dude, I thought it was going to get like a 0.5.
I know you showed it on camera. I just think it's a beautiful book, whether the holes are there or not. And I did notice something on the back I've never seen before. A little bit of a chip that might have happened.
Yeah.
That may have happened like when it was slabbed.
I probably would have gone with a 3.5. I mean, I said 3 or 3.5. I think 4 is definitely a little bit more lenient than what I would have thought, just because of the binder holes and then that small tiny bit of like creasing and damage on the back.
No, I mean, this raises the issue.
No pun intended.
There's an actual 2 holes that go through every single page. And I was happy for the 4.0. Don't get me wrong. And it is white pages from 62.
Right.
Because somebody put it in a binder. So if this has holes,
And may I ask what you paid for that book?
$227.
That's a good deal.
Instead of 1,000.
Yeah.
Second appearance of Dr. Doom and second appearance of
So-
Silver Age Submariner.
How is this a 3? With creases. And this
I mean,
has
look at-
holes.
And it's got the purple label. It's restored
I would say
with that tape, probably the tape on the
It's
back.
not so somebody trimmed the interior.
Ooh, show
pages.
that on camera real good. Let me hold that up real close. Look at the bottom of the book there.
We're gonna get to this.
Okay.
This is a 3.
What'd you pay for that one? The Tales of Suspense, $50.
$120.
That's all right.
okay.
The next 3.0 I found was going for $300. So I bought what I could afford. All right.
I think so far we're doing okay.
I think so
Yeah.
too. We were just a little off on not by much, by a 0.5.
I'm excited, though, to
0.5
see
we're
if
off.
Maybe there's any surprises if we
Do
miss
you guys
something.
Do you want CGC or PGX?
It doesn't matter.
I
You
think we can go
decide.
back and forth.
It's your books. Ooh, now this is one of the spec books that I think this is Fantastic Four issue 11.
Yes.
First appearance of the Impossible Man. I think he's going to show up in the MCU eventually.
Absolutely, 100%.
He's
I
just
think
such
it's
a
just a
unique
matter of when
Mhm.
they're gonna do that. So for this one,
He may wind up in Secret Invasion for all I know.
I definitely had a little bit of struggle looking at this one, and the flaws are definitely apparent. You can see, I mean, the front of it is beautiful. I think the color is fantastic, pun intended. When you turn to the back though, I'm not sure what that is. It looks like maybe possible burns or like oil staining of sorts. And then you can also see a little bit of breakage in the corner, like the first, like if you flip back to the front, sorry, Dad. I think that would be right in the corner next to the spine. You can see that breakage, which is pretty big, I would say, and it is slightly rolled, and you can see it definitely more on the back, on the spine again, where the front of it is kind of bleeding into the back there. But again, I mean, the color of this absolutely fantastic, and I'm not a comic book aficionado by any means, so this was
Great.
I'm gonna give it, I think, another like 3.5 at the most.
3.0. Let me get my music ready. It's hard doing this. I have to do everything. I'm the boom man. Wait, don't.
Yeah, this is fun.
It is fun. I hope the viewers feel the same way.
Oh,
Oh, wait.
Oh,
Did
no.
you forget yourself what it was? The grade? It sounds like you're pleasantly surprised. Okay. Let me get the music. Okay, here it is. Do it. Got it.
I mean, yeah, I feel like that grade, it's CGC, right? I feel like it is. I would give it a high accuracy score for the grading on that one. I mean,
Okay.
it is beautiful
We're
though.
That was CGC.
Yes.
And that's the book I said to get. I have an ungraded, gorgeous copy of that FF11.
Okay.
Anyway,
but you guys need to look at it again too.
this one is debatable because there's writing on the front, and it's not a or is it a signature? No, it's not a
And then
signature,
you
but
can also see on the tops here.
it's got some major chipping on the back cover. We'll show you in a second, viewers. Bear with us.
Creasing.
Yeah.
But the pen, I mean, that just threw me off 100%. Where I wanted to grade it a little bit lower, like rank it lower. I would say, I mean, honestly, I would say 2.5.
Will you show the back while I think about it again? Thank you. I'm out for the camera, not me. Oh, I didn't even, because the writing thing was such an unknown. They screwed me on Hulk 254. I'll just say 4.0.
Okay.
Wait a second. Let me hit my damn music. Okay, good. You got to peel anyway. And you said 3.5.
No, I said 2.5 on this.
2.5, and I have 4.0. Okay.
It's like front and center, and then the damage on on the top.
chipping.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, Paris tape's supposed to come off easy. God bless it. Blah 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 blah.
Wait a
Dang,
minute.
All right.
Put it up.
Blah 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 blah.
4.5. I am a little bit surprised by that one. Mr. Chance, you were definitely on the right track with your
I was half a
score.
point off.
Yeah.
You got a good deal.
I did not know how that was going to grade with the signature.
Now that's PGX. I have no problem with PGX, but there's a lot of people that do, and I don't think it's fair out there in the comic book community that would say, well, you won't get as much money. And, I think graded is graded. We know a big dealer here. You know him a lot better than I do. Earl Shaw's his name to name drop. He does all the major one in particular, Atlanta Comic Convention every quarter. Okay, every quarter, every months, and he's there, and he's got a whole army of guys dealing comics, and he's bought PGX for premium money from Danny. And by the way, Danny's done some significant home improvement with money from comic books he sold. He got thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Now, this was in a better economy. When did you sell those? Was it during COVID or after COVID? At 2021?
About a year ago.
Okay. And we're live in June of 2023. So anyway, and he's gotten a lot of these books back.
Everyone's getting like stimulus money and the prices rose, and I sold some books and paid for a new deck.
But Earl Shaw did you right. He paid you a fair price.
Well, yeah.
And he lives here. I'm not going to give his address, but he lives close to you here in the Athens, Georgia area of the United States of America.
So
what it's worth.
So when we get through these, we're going to actually compare, now that we've seen the grades, where you can go, okay, this is a PGX 4.0. This is a CGC 4.0, and see how those compare.
Right.
Mona.
She's in the restroom. And she's coming out now.
CGC next.
Okay. Let me look at it while she's getting back. She's back. This is Strange Tales issue number 111. These are great. Yeah, and these are great books too. I love how the Fantastic Four really started the Marvel Age of Comics with Fantastic Four issue 1, released in August of 1961, cover dated November 1961. And it was so popular, they said, let's put the Human Torch in half of the Strange Tales comic book. And they would have random stories along with it. You want to go ahead and, while I do my little spiel, look it over. And so they had the Human Torch in there. What?
Let's go put this up.
Okay. The Human Torch joined as a regular feature in Strange Tales in the early days of the Fantastic Four. And then along came Doctor Strange. They tried another character that took off and was a hit. Stan Lee and artist Stan Lee wrote, and artist Steve Ditko created, of course, Doctor Strange. As most of you know, I'm sure only comic book community people are watching this edition of the Nostalgic Podblast live stream. This is a comic book show, but we're going to talk about some other pop culture stuff later. Star Trek Strange New Worlds and Marvel's Secret Invasion and some other stuff, fun stuff.
Is this CGC or PGX?
CGC. Okay, I would.
So this is higher up.
Second Doctor Strange.
So far, where you guys graded highest to lowest, you got a 3, a 3.5. You put this above this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, both of you.
Yeah. We're straight.
I still.
Are you?
I still agree with that.
Yeah.
To put
I'm
it
kidding,
above
Danny.
it.
So, did you give your grade?
No, not yet.
Well,
I'm
I
gonna
asked
say.
for a grade.
Okay.
I'm like,
Wait.
Okay.
You.
Jumping the gun here. I'm
This is all disorganized, and it's my fault.
also gonna say. Like a 3.5. I'm gonna say. Just because again, creasing, you've got some breakage.
yes.
And then it looks like it could just be because of this whoever slabbed it, but you can see the pages are almost
back.
rolled
What
off
she's talking
center
about,
there.
please. I won't look. I won't look. I'll say 5.0.
Yeah, I'm gonna say
Don't reveal it yet.
3.5.
Okay. All right, 5.0 is what I'm sticking to that. I'm sticking to 5.0. 3. Whoa. I was way off by 2 whole points.
So far,
And what did you say?
3.5.
You were really close.
so far, you got 3.0, 3.5, 3.0.
Let's show them for the camera. I mean, or I guess not. I don't know. I just want to. I'll hold them up while you talk. I want people to see these. I know you've held them up individually, but it'd just be more compelling for the viewer.
I would call this a fucking A 2.5.
Family show, Danny.
Look,
Why?
look,
Why
Chance.
though?
Chance. Look at that.
Chipping. I didn't see that. I didn't
Look,
look close
look,
enough.
yeah,
I was
look.
rushed.
Like, it
So-
does
so-
have
look.
chipping, but I think overall it still
It's tough to call. It's
It's-
not. This
it's
is
white.
this.
it's
This is
white
not
to
a trick.
off-white
It's not a
pages.
trick.
But it's proving your point.
Although I
How
will
this
say,
it's all over the place.
I did miss this the first time
We're
around
back
ranking
PGX.
them, but the second time looking at it, the nails, the staples are a bit rusted as well.
Ooh, this is one I had low in my stack.
And this one,
Amazing Spider-Man issue
I
12.
think I ranked it like
Remember, we're getting
in the middle.
I did lower to high.
Yeah, I think I ranked this in the middle. It does have a pretty big breakage right here in the front.
It's a
I
tear,
think-
actually.
Yeah, the coloring though, pretty amazing.
You seem to grade, and this is an observation, and I'm not saying it's wrong or right. I like it. The color you give a lot of points to when it's bright colors
Yeah,
instead of faded or something.
yeah.
That's
think,
interesting because I never really thought about that before. the
because I
color.
think it goes into like visibly like the physical appearance of like when you look
Good
at
point.
it, and then also when you take it kind of flat
That's
into
not
the
a tear?
light.
It looks like it's torn out.
I mean,
I
that
thought
looks
she's not
like
up.
no. This is a crease, and that's a pretty big crease where it looks like somebody probably folded
Yeah.
the page over. Yeah, definitely let them see. But I think I put this one more towards the middle. I did obviously see that breakage and then that crease in the front, and then also when you turn it to the back, there is a little bit of a break on. I think it's. I don't know, on the outside of the page right there. But I still wanted to grade this one a little bit higher. I don't even know why exactly. Now looking at it overall, I'd probably give it 4.
I agree. 4.
4.5.
I give it a 4.0 for Amazing Spider-Man 12.
Yeah.
I think Jeff Logan just got that book, by the way. He only needs a few. He needs the first Craven, Amazing Spider-Man 15, and first Green Goblin 14. And he's got like, I think he'll have an issue 1, I think. 1 through 300 or something. No, 1 through 400. No, 1 through 700.
Chance said 4.
Sorry, 4.0.
Yeah, I'm
Whoa,
gonna
whoa.
go. Yeah.
What? Don't let me see. Hold on, Danny. Hang on, Danny. I know we got to hurry. I got to do my little music now. Oh, it's too late. I blew it. What's the grade? Oh, 4.0.
Yeah, and I think that's again a solid grade from PGX. I agree with
Now,
that.
I will say,
Obviously,
so far,
Hey, we got someone checking in. Danny Staten, or is it Staten or Staten? Says greetings from South Carolina. Hey, Danny, welcome aboard.
South Carolina.
Let's play. If you're still there, I just noticed your comment. Play along with us. I'll wait before Danny reveals it and see if you comment. Comment on what you think the grade is. We'll do a better job of showing it on camera so you can see it. And we'll try to like limit our comments
I will say, so far,
here in the studio.
the PGX grades, you guys have nailed. The CGC grades, you've all been off.
that is true. That's a good point. Going back to CGC commentary that we all had about
Just saying.
the grading, how they might do it,
Like you guys are nailing.
discrepancies.
Like you
between
guys
the
are
graders.
nailing these grades.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, Danny Staten, the guy here. His name's Danny also, Danny Cochran, for what it's worth. So Danny, meet Danny. Danny, meet Danny. Okay.
Welcome to the
Nostalgic Podblast and Daniel Cochran's YouTube channel, Kraken's
Kraken's
Lair
Lair
Comics,
Comics.
otherwise known as.
Cracks their comics.
But you renamed it Daniel Cochran, I thought. Anyway,
It's all right.
let's move on.
CGC.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see.
Right.
Put it up for the camera so that Danny or anyone else watching that's as we're live can check it out. Okay.
Tales of Suspense, number 42.
Wow,
Third
that's
appearance of Iron Man.
Third
Third.
appearance of Iron Man.
All right.
show the back for the camera if you don't mind.
Yeah, let's.
That's good. Okay, and now ladies first.
Okay.
Now,
Well,
once again,
you said maybe not.
once again,
make my
I'm
comments
putting
out
these
Yeah.
in
loud.
order.
Well, that's okay. I mean, you
Wait,
can
wait,
you
wait.
can
I'm putting these in order
right.
from your highest to lowest.
Yeah.
And I'm showing the lowest first. So you guys both put this at a higher grade.
Yeah, I think we put this one probably
Okay.
middle of the road. So couple of things that I'm gonna say about this. When you look at the back, it kind of looks like maybe some of it's rubbed off, possibly from oil from your thumb. It kind of looks like a thumbprint right there.
He was eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich when he was reading that book.
Yeah. And then it also looks like just a little bit of a tear on the back right there. And then you've got some creasing along the spine on both the front and the back. A little bit of color creasing on the front there.
Let me just show for Danny and the viewers that are watching after we're live the back she's talking about.
Otherwise, I don't really have any other comments. If you wanted to add to the comments before we graded it.
And I already have a grade in mind.
Yeah, I think I.
Nope, Danny didn't say anything. We've got to say time is about up in about 5 seconds, or might be a delay. There's about a 30-second delay, actually. I'm going to just not really comment, but let me just give it one other look-see. And this is CGC. Damn. And I have this book too, ungraded. Do you want to go with the grade?
Yeah, I think I'll go with just a 5.0. I think I'll grade it there. Yeah.
I'll go 4.5.
I feel like we're gonna be way off. I don't know.
Danny's struggling to remove the tape. There, he's got it.
Painter's tape.
Yeah, that's good tape, actually.
You wanna play the music before
Uh-huh.
it starts to...
I have it all ready to go. Ready to go.
So what'd you guys grade this as?
I said 5.0. Mr. Chance said 4.5.
Oh, sorry.
All right.
All right, now we go. A 2.5?
I gotta call BS on that.
I'm sorry.
That
A
is-
2.5?
Now, are there notes? No notes. Maybe.
No, it's CGC. So
But maybe. No, but damn, maybe I was hoping someone had paid for the notes.
Now look. CGC.
right, let's review.
This is a 3.
And that's it.
Hold it. Don't show me. Let me show them. I hear you. That's a 3. Restored grade. Maybe they knocked off for the restored.
Trim.
Right.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of like little
Look,
issues
look
with
at
the
the
back.
back.
Yeah.
Look at the back.
There's like staining. I mean, and you can see it on camera. And a bunch of creasing, like
Oh,
at
God,
the
yeah.
top of it.
Oh,
And
God,
again,
yeah.
Yeah, somebody literally cut into the comic book.
At the bottom,
And
right
that
there.
has a 3.
Damn.
And it's from CGC as well. It's not
And
from a different
and
company.
This is a
And
2.5.
that's a 2.5. I just
Folks.
Premier grading company. CGC.
right.
Nope.
BS on that. Definitely. This in no way should be a 2.5.
And look, who are we? It's not going to amount to a hill of beans. We hope that they'll affect some change. Hopefully someone will see this video, circulate it,
Maybe.
and we just want them to get it right. That's all we want.
Exactly. Yeah.
This isn't shaming.
Get rid of these.
I think that's definitely a higher grade by far.
Gotta be higher.
No creases, I mean, it's got the
It's
issues
got
we
a
noted.
tiny little bit of creasing just along the spine, but when you look at this one, it's so visible. You can see it in the front of the page.
Can I see the other Spider-Man you just sat down
Yeah.
for a second, please?
You can see the creasing
Right there
on
it
the
is.
top of the front.
There's 4 of
And then look to the back. I mean, it's just
them. I mean, they have damage.
but it's
But
minimal.
it's a 4.
It's minimal
And
damage
there
to
is
the one that they
no
graded
way.
2.5. That's, I mean,
There is no way.
I don't see how that could be accurate. And I want to know why they graded it that way. You know?
There's no way.
Like,
We demand a recount.
Yeah.
We want a regrade.
No taxation without representation. Like, I just want to know what their thought process
but-
is here and how they actually are grading it and what scale they're using, because like I think my dad was talking about earlier, there are certain things that, is automatically going to tick off for like rusty staples, missing page, binders, like binder holes. But with something like that, where the damage, at least from our point of view, looks to be pretty minimal, how the grade could come out to be so low. Like, there has to be some sort of explanation given, and that's what I would like, is some sort of explanation, some sort of notes, where you don't have to get a membership to access those notes. And I think that's fair. If you're sending in these comic books, you want an explanation for that without spending exorbitant amounts of money.
Holy smokes!
Off center.
Off center on the side.
Pages cut out. So like this is where this sat on. Like, dude, if this is a 3, this is a fucking a 5.
Yeah. Sorry, kids.
And then flip to the back.
Or this is not a 3. I think this is like a 1.5, a 1.8 at best. But CGC can do no wrong. They're the number one company, and bull crap.
That's why there are sheep
Like, dude, how
in the world.
you look? How is
I
this?
see it.
How
I
is
see
this
it.
graded?
Let me hold it up
higher?
for them. Yeah. I'm sorry. Look, give me. I'll do it side by side.
Yeah.
There. Now prove your point. Yeah. That's.
Like, it's trimmed. The cover is crunched because they trimmed the pages. Look at all the corner creases. Ding, 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 ding. Look at that.
Along the top.
Blah, 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 all that.
And I'm looking at the back,
It-
and you can just tell. Like,
Flip
just
it
from
over.
Looking
Flip it
at the
over.
back.
Flip it over.
Well, I might need a little bit of.
I'll get one of them.
Yeah.
There you go.
There we go. So even on the back here,
all
I mean,
this
it's
dirt, damage. And it's got some. It's an old book.
just a little bit,
But
just
it
like
is-
a baby thumb mark on the back
It's like- it's
compared
like,
to
dude,
the
you're
whatever's
you're
on
telling
this
me
one.
This graded higher than this?
I'm not buying it.
people. What do you think?
I mean,
We want to know.
like, it's you can't have it both ways. Either this should not have graded a 3.0 and should have graded about a 1.5, 1.8.
Or this one.
Should have graded about a 4.5.
Higher, yeah. Or
But
both.
but you can't
Or
go
both.
this one graded lower.
Yeah.
That's
All
not right. That's not right.
That's why we're playing the game.
Definitely.
I'm not trying to bash anyone. They just need to do some course
We
correction.
just got some questions.
We
And
just-
inquiring minds want to know, and I think that's fair. If you're, as a person, sending your comic books out to be graded, you want to make sure that it's accurate, and
All
you
right.
probably want to know why for the notes and stuff.
Danny's now about to put up another one, Fantastic Four Annual number 2, which is one I couldn't believe he didn't have, but he corrected it and got it. That's The Origin of Dr. Doom. That's one of my favorite comic books of the Silver Age, actually, because I'm a big Dr. Doom fan. We both looked over that book. You could see there's a corner that's chipped out, the upper left corner, I believe it was.
And just a little bit on the back as well.
But look
On
at
the
the color, like to your point, how color matters to you. It's clean in the front,
It's
nice
clean
and white
outside of the
looking,
chipping, I mean,
color-wise.
And again, Dr. Doom. And when did this issue come out?
1964.
So for 1964, it's beautiful. Outside of the little bit of chipping on it, I would give this a 5.5 to 6.
Let's look at the edge. That with these books that are hardbound like that, there can be some splits,
True.
and so that's something we really need to look at closely. And there could be tape where someone
There
taped
is-
over a split.
I don't see any tape. I think there is.
There's
a little
chipping
bit
on the
of
yeah.
wear and tear on the spine.
There's
for
chipping
sure.
on the spine. It'd be hard to pick up on the camera on the very bottom edge and in the top. But anyway, it's still, I think, a very pretty book because there's a lot better in the condition than the one I have that's ungraded. There is chipping at the bottom corner by that starburst. See that little starburst? See the chipping right there? But I guess we need to go ahead and grade it and hurry along. Danny.
I mean, let's get we're moving up the food chain. this is higher than the other books from PGX you guys graded.
Because I think it does have, even with the chipping and stuff.
I'm gonna go 5.0.
I'll-
Solid 5.0 flat.
All right, and that it was graded by PGX. I'll say 4.5. 5.0, she says, and 4.5, I say. Her Fantastic Four annual number 2. He's peeling. I'm getting the music ready.
All right, should I just throw it
And
up?
nobody else has any guesses? who's
Nope.
watching? All right.
Should I just
Ready?
throw it up?
There's a delay. It's probably a bad idea. Yeah, hold on 1 second. Go ahead, put it up. Dun, 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 dun!
3.0.
Whoa. I disagree with that grade.
I also do. Clearly. Because I agree with that. Even
No,
higher
I
than-
mean, this is higher. Like,
So,
Man, because there weren't.
compare.
I think with this one, it's definitely a bit more obvious, like for the cover, the front of it, that this one has more overall damage. I would say this one, I mean, clearly chipped off there, chipped off on the bottom, damage here. But then you look at the back, and I would say overall, Fantastic Four number 2, annual number 2, the back looks much more pristine to me than the back of Tales of Suspense number 42 does.
It's all, the pages are just so white in the cover, front and back of that FF annual too.
Yeah, I mean,
So you agree with the
so
grade?
I do agree with the level that this should be lower, Tales of Suspense, and the Fantastic Four should be higher. I do agree with that. I think the grading itself, though, I do think that this one should be a little bit higher, at least a 4 to a 4.5.
I think 4.5. I stand
Yeah.
behind my estimation. I'm not a professional grader, as a
Right.
lot of people like to say that are selling on
Yeah.
eBay.
And again, we don't
But-
have
Or selling raw books.
their rules
So,
or
yeah,
contingencies
So-
that
so,
they
like,
use
where
for
I'm like,
this.
this is a 4.5. I'm like, dude,
Let me hold this up for the camera
this should
again.
be a 4.
Yeah.
I think this
Or a
one should be
3.5.
3.5. Yeah.
This is a lot nicer than a 3. Now that's PGX that gave you a raw deal on that.
Yeah.
So to be fair.
All right. I think that is the first PGX
Foul.
that we.
I had 2 fouls, but yeah, I had 2 PGX fouls.
All right,
But
left or right, left or right, left or right.
We'll do CGC next since we just did PGX.
it's a pretty book. Fantastic Four issue number 17. Wow. I'm looking at the back. The back has some issues where it's off center. It
Yeah.
could use a pressing. I would crack that baby open and get it pressed.
Yeah.
It might be too.
Put
It
these-
might
you
be
guys-
too
you guys put
fragile.
these lowest to highest.
It might be too fragile
Yeah, I know.
to press because of the age of that book. That book, I believe, is from 1964. Man, just like FF Annual 2.
I think the front overall looks pretty darn good.
63.
And again, I agree with you about the pressing. And that's why I did grade it a bit higher. I ranked it a bit higher because I thought, like, if you just took the time, got that press, it'd probably resolve that issue where you can definitely see the pages right here, like, overlapped, and you can actually see right there. But I do think I agree with you that if you just took the time to get it pressed, and that's why I ranked it higher, that the grade would be higher. So and for me, that would be a minimal issue to get resolved.
Right. As it stands now, I'll give that one a 3.5. 3.5.
Yeah, I would say 3.5 to 4.0 for sure. I'll guess 4.0, so we'll have different. different-
The way you guys rank these, like,
Here comes the reveal, folks.
you're changing your prices. Or
They may have gotten out of order in that stack. I don't know. Anyway, well, so you're going to grade us on how we grade it at the end? Please do say. All right, I think
No.
Savannah
Okay, so
did better than Chip.
Where we at?
I'm gonna say 4.0.
Yeah,
You're gonna say 3.5.
yeah.
Okay.
Don't show me. Show the camera.
Got it. You nailed it on the head.
Wow.
Okay.
I got one right. I've been right before, but it's been a while. I've been off the mark the last couple guesses.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I agree with that. I mean,
No,
that's what I said it was. So I guess
Yeah.
I got to go agree, but it might have been lower than that. I'm just kidding.
All right. Next up, we have Fantastic Four number 10. We ranked this one pretty high. This is from PGX Comics. That he got it graded. And again, similar to the last, you kind of see a bit of that overlap on the back which I think would be resolved again from just getting it pressed. You have a little bit of damage to the front right here, a little bit of chipping.
There's
along
pretty
the
bad
front.
chipping
Yeah.
along Reed Richards, actually Dr. Doom and Reed Richards' body. They did like a Freaky Friday kind of story where Dr. Doom gets in Reed Richards' body. That's actually the third appearance of Dr. Doom. First appearance, FF5. Second appearance, FF6. They brought him back for FF10 that you see on camera right there. That's a really interesting story. And also, look who's on the very bottom. Stan Lee and Jack Kirby in comic book form making a cameo on the cover. I think that's it. But we're talking about condition. I'm just giving you some notes about that book. I have that book in my collection too, ungraded. About the same condition. I would say mine is about the same, has chipping on the side, but it's still a nice copy, as is Danny's book right there that you see. I'm going to go ahead and issue my guesstimation on that. And, you know, some of these books, anyone that's seen Danny's channel, we may have done an unboxing. I don't remember. I honestly don't remember these grades because we were pretty lit. I'm sober now, stone cold sober, but we were drinking and stuff, and I don't remember. He's peeling the tape, folks. Did you want to say your grade guess?
I'm going to go 4.0 to 4.5 for this one.
I'll go 5.5. And that's PGX grading service. God, it takes a while for that to peel.
Yeah.
So a 4.5 to
Oh.
a 5.
Oh, don't show me. Show the camera. Wow.
You guys are closer
For the
to
PGX.
PGX
Yeah, there was
grades
only the one that we
across
were
the board.
really off. Like for the 2.5 one.
Say that again for the mic because they can hear you. We're getting closer to the grades.
Like your guys' guesstimations on the grades of PGX comics, you're right there.
Or more accurate than our
Yeah.
guesses for CGC.
Overall, yeah.
And you got one coming up from another company, the grading company is no longer in existence.
Yeah, you got that.
Oh, and it happens to be the next one. I was right on it.
Let's say that.
Oh, it's not next. Oh, this is a key book. Look at that, folks. Tales of Suspense, issue number 57, the first of Hawkeye. And how sad is it what happened to Jeremy? Is it Jeremy Renner, the actor who plays him?
Yeah,
Oh,
random
yeah.
guys.
But
Yeah,
he's doing okay now.
Oh,
I mean,
thank
he's
God.
doing
I thought
okay.
he was going to be maimed for life.
No, I know that he
Bounce
was
back.
in the ICU for like a while, but
Yeah.
he was tweeting on social media from his ICU
Run over by a snowplow trying to
Yeah.
do a good deed for a woman, actually.
Yes.
It was about to hit her car or something. The plow went out of control.
Yeah, trying to be a hero in real life definitely has different consequences than it does in comics.
And
So-
he didn't even have powers as his character. It's just archery.
Yeah, right, yeah.
He has like special arrows and
Yeah,
all right. So yeah, back on track. Great. Okay. Let's look at the book.
grading.
I should have been, you know what? What I'm going to do now is do my little anecdotes while she's looking.
Like, dude, we're going through this, and
Don't knock my camera over.
Books like you're like, this was like lowest to highest, and now you're guys are like changing grades.
Well,
That's
we're trying to make sense of what the graders are thinking. At least that's what I'm
Right,
trying to do.
now- Yeah, because I think now we're getting a frame of reference that we're going off of, and especially for me with little to no experience when it comes to
Now, you're crushing
checking comic books for
it.
you
You're
know
crushing it.
damage and stuff like that. So now looking at this, I would actually put this lower than I did originally. Because now
didn't
looking
notice it
over it
first.
exactly, yeah. And then
There's
again,
chipping across the top that I didn't notice.
yeah, and similarly, like looking at the chipping, I didn't notice that before when looking at it because I was a bit frenzied trying to just rank
Yeah.
everything fast. So now I would probably give this a 3.5 to a 4.
Okay.
I would say I'm gonna go with 3.5 though.
Let me just put this for the camera for the viewer. I agree. There's chipping all over the place. Not too bad. And it could, of course, use a pressing if the book could survive a pressing because of its age, being from 1964. Key book. I mean, it's a great addition to any collection. Look at the back. See you see the chipping more prominently, I think, in the back cover. But then that corner box. Look at the corner box cover. A lot of wear right there. All right, let me just go ahead and issue a grades. I'd give that a 4.5. I'd give it a 4.5. What did you say,
I'm
Savannah?
giving it a 3.5.
All right. Savannah says 3.5. I say 4.5 for Tales of Suspense, issue 57, first appearance of Hawkeye. Now the reveal. 3.0.
A bit lower than I would go, but I did say 3.5. So,
You were closer than I was, so
but 3.0 does feel just a little bit
Okay.
lower
Yeah.
than it should be.
Move on.
CGC graded book.
This is what I graded highest in
I-
quality.
and
Both of you guys.
I
Yeah.
agreed with this. Yeah.
This is a Strange Tales issue. This is what I call a Danny book. Ever since we were kids, I started collecting comics in 1981 when I was 10 years old. I'm an old fart. Danny started, well, I mean, we had comics before then, but that's when we were serious collectors. And I met Danny through my mom and his mom, who were school teachers at Cobb. Nobody cares. But these were books that Danny, when we were kids, like 12, 13 years old, he gravitated towards books that dealt with the monsters or the Westerns, not necessarily the superheroes. War books.
Yeah.
But he was a Marvel guy, as was I. And so he was smart to get these books that are now, thanks to the MCU, Marvel Cinematic Universe and Marvel Studios, some of these obscure comics like Fing Fang Foom was in The Rings of Shang-Chi.
The first appearance of
Groot. Groot, right. I mean, I was going to mention that next. And Groot, right. And which was reprinted in, what was that book? Where Monsters Dwell, issue 6, which was 10 years later, 1970, the reprint came out.
Tom Williams.
Says 5.0. Oh, 5.0. Hey, Tom.
What?
He says, get it graded. He says, get it graded. Yeah. 5.0 is what he guesses on this book. I don't know if I just noticed the comment. It could have, I bet that was the Hawkeye. I bet he said 5.0 on the Hawkeye. Because there's a 30-second delay.
Sorry, Tom. We just noticed.
Yeah,
your
sorry,
comment.
All right, so this book here, I just to wrap up my silly Danny. Oh, damn, you just revealed it. I mean, you didn't hear our guesses.
Come on, Dad.
I thought you said 5.
Well, then if Tom was looking at that book, he got it right on the nose.
I was about to say, Tom, you're our lucky winner for today.
I
with the
would have
guess.
given that. I would have given that
I think I would have gone
a
higher.
6.5.
I was gonna go 6.0. So CGC.
Look at that book.
I mean, it does look great.
Grade
It does
on
look
the
great.
CGC books.
It's been way off the mark in
you
our
guys
opinion.
are guessing higher.
Yeah.
Every PGX grade, you guys are both in consensus right there.
Right. Off
So-
by like 0.5.
Yeah. We're close.
And both of you.
Yeah.
Comic book dude, don't know shit. Not
Yeah.
being like,
Oh,
and
yeah.
the PGX books, both of you are right there on the grade. On the CGC books, both of you
It's a
get them
sliding scale.
every single one of them wrong.
Yeah.
Like way wrong in most cases. And that's the thing. I mean,
I don't.
let's hold that up again. I'm going to
Jeff
hold.
Logan just said Danny got me into the Burn X-Men, which was awesome. So good job, Dad.
You're welcome, Jeff.
I can't, Jeff, thanks for watching this video. We've gone a little long, but it's been fun. And we got just one more. Oh, this is another great book. No, this was the ultimate. This is the top of my stack in terms of what I thought was the best grade. Let's get this on camera. This is Journey. Yeah, Journey into Mystery, early issue 88, which is a great cover with Loki and Thor.
Yeah.
Let's check it out again.
Really nice.
We'll show it on camera, folks. Just bear with us.
Okay.
We've gone an hour and 45 minutes. That's good. Look at that.
All right. Do you guys have any guesses out there?
Yeah, let's give them some time to guess. Jeff, what do you think? That's a PGX grade.
And this is your guys' top grade.
Of that stack, yeah, that was the one I thought was the nicest. And I consider the age of the book, a lot of factors. Because anything in print will deteriorate over time. Whether it's the thing about slabbing, which we haven't mentioned yet, which I have mentioned in other videos. I'm just allowing time for comments to catch up. What do you think out there, any viewer that's as we're live? What do you grade this final? Is this the last one? No, we got a few more. Not many more. We're starting to wind down this topic. But look, this is a gorgeous book. Look at the color. Front and back. There's the back again. Man, I'm trying to think. Oh, it's got to be 1963. Actually, 62. The cover date was January 63. So on the street date was October 1962. That's a long time ago. That's 51 years ago.
I bought this from Earl Shaw.
52 years ago.
I bought from Earl Shaw.
And did you buy it pre-graded or raw?
Raw.
And then you submitted it to
drove his
PGX.
house. And I didn't.
How far away you live from you? About 10 miles? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, not far.
Yeah.
And I was like, I thought he was gonna like meet me at like a parking lot or something, because it's like it's Earl Shaw. He's like the biggest comic book dealer
In the Southeast.
And when I realized where I was like pulling up into his driveway, into his house, I like really felt daunted by that.
Didn't you tell me he had an FF5 First Doctor Doom just sitting on a table and he had original artwork? Now, we're not going to tell you where this guy lives, and we don't want to give away any secrets, but we want to give you some interesting gossip about this guy.
I mean, yeah, it was daunting. Not like just like stacks of long boxes, but like where he's just got like comic books like laying out on tables, and you're like, that's the second appearance of Batman. That's
The First Doctor Doom, like I said.
yeah, and original artwork panels with notes from like Stan Lee.
He's got deep pockets, folks.
Yeah. But I bought this from Earl Shaw.
Okay. So let's get back on track. And it's a beautiful copy. Like I said, in that particular stack of like 7 books or whatever it was my top pick in terms of highest grade. And this is another CGC. So damn, I'd give that maybe a 6.5.
I was going to say 6.0.
I'm going to throw down the gauntlet on that.
6.0.
6.5 or 6.0. Yeah. Hold it. Let's reveal. Show. What the F? Now that's PGX. That's the first time I've been off the mark because I thought that'd be a 6.5.
Yeah.
Sorry, Danny. There goes my average of accuracy with PGX. That was my top one. Now they give notes. Hey, no, let's talk about the notes. Why did they grade it the way they did?
Yeah,
I don't think I paid for the notes on this.
Oh, there's no notes. I thought PGX gave notes.
They do usually.
It costs $5.
Oh, $5. Okay. What do you think? You think that's nicer than 4.0 front back? But now I do see on the edge. I'm going to stand behind my 6. I still think that's a 6.5 book. That's more than a mid-grade book. They're saying that's less than a mid-grade book. 50% being a 5.0.
Look at this roll. That's a 4.
Again, we got to show this with camera. I hear you. Danny's pointing out that this Amazing Spider-Man 17 is rolled. Look at it, front and back. See that roll, which could maybe be pressed. We get it, but a book that old.
It's graded as is, as a 4.
That's a great point. Now, this is the company he was talking about earlier that's no longer in business. What were they called? ComicGradingGroup.com. They're no longer around for Comic Grading Group. CGG. I guess.
See you later.
And again, it's one of those like when comparing, how can those both be a 4.0? No, because I would agree with you.
That's not.
That's so much higher. I mean,
I'm insulted.
Like I said, at least a 6, and you said 6.5. Where with the comicgradinggroup.com people, I would agree like 4.0, maybe even lower, because that roll, that's intense. I mean, it's not even just like a little bit. It's very, very noticeable.
Amen, kiddo.
Chance, you come here to light.
I need a what?
Come here into the light.
Into the light, okay.
Into the light.
Carolyn, get into the light. Poltergeist. He has an Amazing Spider-Man 14. Oh, I can see the grade. Did you want me to see that?
Look.
Oh, this is a good demonstration, Dan. He told me about this.
Look.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah, I see it.
See? Can you see?
I see it. But for the viewer and listener, they can't see it.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're gonna be. Look. You see?
I believe you. I see it. I see it. All right. Let me just let me say something for a second.
CGC.
This is Amazing Spider-Man 14, First Appearance of Green Goblin. One of the books Jeff Logan needs to complete issues 1 through 700, I believe it is. He needs issue 1, 15, and 14. I have this. Hey, the Angry Girlfriend variant, we won't go there. I'm the guy who had this book trashed, this copy, back in the year 1990. Anyway, look it up. Angry Girlfriend variant. Newsweek did a story about it. Comicbook.com did a story about it. These jerks, I shouldn't call them jerks. These guys in Rockmart, Georgia have it presently. They bought it in 1993 at the Atlanta Fantasy Fair or Dragon. I think it was Atlanta Fantasy Fair before Dragon Con really was the premier convention in the Southeast. It was in the early days, but in 93 is when they obtained that book. I sold it after this girl trashed it with permanent magic marker in 1990 to Titan Games and Comics in Smyrna, Georgia, and they're still around. And this manager of that store is still there, still running that particular store. And they've moved locations, but I'm all over the place, folks. This is Amazing Spider-Man number 14. What Danny was showing me, look in the light. I hope this shows up on the camera. I'll let him tell it, but there is like something like an oil slick. When you see, if you're looking at gasoline on a sidewalk or oil on a sidewalk, you see a rainbow effect. There's like a discoloration, swirly, kind of psychedelic looking. And Danny claims with the process of slabbing at CGC, there's a known effect that causes that. Well, wait till you get back on mic. It causes things that look like that. And he actually was showing me in the light. You can see it in this particular copy. I don't know if I don't know if this book was stored in intense heat and that caused some melting of the slab or what, but it is there to the naked eye under light.
Oh, I see some right here.
I don't know if, hopefully people can see it.
I feel like you'd have to flash a light on it.
Oh, I can do that right here. Boom. There we go. No, I got a bright light on it. You want to try to tilt the book and point at it?
I see it right here. Like, right there.
It's there.
You can definitely see some faint rings on there.
All right, we'll go over the story, Danny. Now, you had terminology for this and everything. Here, grab the mic. You all right?
It's called Newton rings, and it's specific to CGC graded comic books because we're showing you these slabbed comic books, but the comic book itself is in its own like sort of like plastic sleeve.
Yep, that's what Jeff is saying as well right now.
Before they put it into the slab, and the way these two plastics work together reflect
Good word.
light, and it's like if you see gasoline on oil or gasoline on water, it's like this weird rainbow effect. And I saw an article like 2018 where CGC is like, yes, we're aware of this now and we're correcting it, which is good that they did. But I'm like, how many comic books did you grade that have this, unsightly defect where people were paying you for a premium of you're the premier grading company, and yet now there's like these weird oil slick looking things on the cover of our comic books. Um, you know, did they do anything like reparations, or it was like F you, thank you for shopping at CGC?
Well, now wait. Now they, if a slab gets cracked, they will replace it for free. Did they offer that? I wonder. Maybe that's possible. Just to defend them a little bit. I don't know. Did you learn of any instance where, hey, if you send it in,
I'll read it
replace
to
the slab? Huh?
I'll read it too.
Okay.
And Jeff Logan was also agreeing with what you were saying, Dad, about the Newton effect. The two plastics, the plastic covers are contacting, and it's from that contact.
That it happens, this effect. Wow.
But the other two grading companies, like, that doesn't happen.
So
And it has never
why?
happened.
That's a mystery. Maybe they used cheap plastics. I'm just kidding. I don't mean to throw them under the bus. I'm really not trying
No, but
to.
I'm like, dude, you can't call this the number one company when their lead time is excessive. They keep raising prices.
Yep.
There's obvious disparities in their grading where you can literally look at, we've shown.
Yeah.
How is
9.6s? Yeah.
how is this a 3 and how is this a 2?
Right.
One of them is wrong, because if this is a 3, either the 2 should be graded higher or the 3 should be graded lower. And then you got like the Newton rings. And I mean, it's like, no, dude, I'm so tired of people claiming this is the best company.
It is what it is. Stupid is as stupid does. And it's sad.
I have been literally called by the CEO, Daniel Patterson, of PGX when I had a slight issue. He called me on my phone. Good luck getting CGC or their.
I don't know if you want to mention that on the air, but okay.
It's true.
Yeah, I'm sure that he may not want that for public, but okay.
I'm sure he would.
Yeah.
Like, I had an issue. I sent a text, and the CEO of PGX made a phone call personally to me. I don't think you'd have a problem with me saying that.
Okay.
I think having an issue with CGC, good luck.
That's true.
Good luck.
What's next, Danny? Let's see some other books. You have a Tomb of Lady Dragon. I've never even heard of that book. What's up with that?
That's Dracula.
Yeah, it was a 9.6.
I said Lady Drag. I meant Lady Drac.
Show the Dennis the Menace.
Okay, yeah. Well, did you want to show this? All right, so 14.9. You know, of course, I went there briefly talking about the Angry Girlfriend variant, and I talked about those guys in Rockmart that currently have the book. And the silly thing is, they had that graded, and that came up. Now, this is a story that ties into the grading. What did it come back? 1.8, and this book is trashed front, back, center. It was my book, destroyed. It was mint before it was destroyed. Now, I've gotten another copy since then, but it's getting very brittle. I think I need to send that off to be in case, because one thing we didn't mention that I mentioned before, I got interrupted when I meant to say this. Supposedly, when you slab a book, as long as it doesn't have the ring effect or whatever, it'll preserve it for 100 years. So you can pass it down to a loved one.
Well,
Now, the Angry Girlfriend variant, but about that Angry Girlfriend variant, How could that be a 1.8? Now that wasn't CGC. Actually, I gotta set the record straight. That I think was CBC, or it wasn't It was not CGC, because I don't think they would have graded that 1.8. Okay. Now these guys have had people sign it that have nothing to do with that book, like Jim Shooter, I think. Why wouldn't you have had Stan Lee and Steve Ditko when they were still with us sign it? Supposedly it's gone around from state to state, convention to convention. I don't want to go there. I really don't have a beef with those guys per se. I just think it's sleazy that they're allegedly trying to get $100,000 for the Angry Girlfriend variant. My former book, and I offered them $5,000 for it, and they scoffed at that. I wanted to get it back. Now I don't want it back.
I got a big beef with these dudes.
Yeah, Rockmart, Georgia.
I mean, you can't take a graded book that has a value and want 20 times of that, where they created this fictional hype. Oh, this is an underground desirable thing that has gone from like dealer to dealer to dealer. Honestly, I think the Newsweek article, I think the guy that wrote that, he should probably be like culpable for some sort of like fraud. Because it wasn't a news story. And he created this. And I'm like,
created a legend when there was none.
And I'm like, so who got a hold of you? And it's like, these clowns got a hold of you to create this story, to drive up interest in a book that no one even knew about.
Right.
Chance and I were on this like Marvel Comics website.
Facebook group. Marvel Comics 1961 to 1986 Facebook group.
And he put out there, has anybody seen this? And no one knew shit about it.
This was probably in 2015 or so, 2016 maybe.
And no one knew shit about it. And then all of a sudden, here's this like Newsweek article.
In 2019. In 2019, yes.
And all of a sudden, it's like, oh, this book has gone from like dealer to dealer. It's some underground sort of desirable thing. And it's like, this was all fabricated. And I'm sure it was fabricated by the individuals that have this book. But for any sort of like news agency to pick up this story,
Not vetting it.
you know, I'm like, no, there's some collusion. There's something wrong here. And since that, it's now shown up on comic book channels, and now people think it's a real thing. And it's like, no, these people are crooks. They're shysters. Absolutely.
Shane, and one of them's Shane. His name's Shane.
And like, I mean, the article's like, oh no,
They
you know,
ran a convention too for a while before COVID, the Cartersville Comic Convention. Anyway,
this book has never left the state of Georgia.
it has not.
Documented. You know, it has never left the state of Georgia. And so the entire Newsweek article is a fabrication. And I honestly, I think all of them are liable for fraud, especially like the journalist. You know, it's like, no, dude, this never left the state of Georgia.
If they sell it for $100,000, absolutely. Or anywhere near that. A 1.8 graded, I got to get out my phone to look up Go Collect. You've done it before, but I want to look at current values. But whatever. I didn't mean to get on the soapbox about this. Just when I see that book, I can't help but go there because I had that mint copy of that book that got wrecked.
And I will defend Chance here to say the young woman's story is also flawed.
Oh, God, yeah. God, yeah. In terms of the timeline.
And
I did something in retaliation
she
says was first. If that were the case,
Why wouldn't it say on the book in that manifesto? Chance, you did this. You know, I'm gonna get you. Not one damn word.
She destroyed a very valuable piece of property that belonged to Chance and has made unsubstantiated claims to try to like sort of justify
Right.
that. What she did is criminal. Destruction of property as criminal.
Oh, there's a bright glare on that thing. I didn't notice. Okay, we can move on to that, I guess.
Well, you put.
Well, go ahead. I mean, I
And
just want to set the record straight.
I don't think we never set the record straight because like people like want to just like hype about it.
Well,
You
and
know?
like you showed me that little kid, that young man that did a video about the angry girlfriend.
Yeah.
Parent.
He's
a
like,
nice
oh,
guy.
this is the
He's a
coolest
nice guy.
thing.
He's in Texas. He's a nice guy.
He don't know.
Comics.
You don't know.
He doesn't know. He's innocent. But you said Chance. Look, they're talking about it again. Every so often, the angry girlfriend variant shows up in the comic community, and no one knows the truth. So it's up to us to tell the true side of the story, and that's all we got to do on that. And we don't want to talk about how I created Madcap because there's no reason to bring that up. We're talking about comic grading. I'm sorry, that's another story. Just when I do a comic video, 1984. Okay, don't get me started. Let's talk about the Dennis the Menace thing. Unless there's other comics you want to show, you've got to hear the Dennis the Menace comic book story, folks.
Let's do that.
Okay.
Other day, recently here in June 2023, of course, it was Father's Day. And I have a young niece and nephew, Henry and Molly, and I like to give them presents. So I was going through some comic books to give my niece. Now, my niece and nephew don't particularly care for comic books per se. I've given a lot of comics to my nephew, Henry, because I figure comic books these days is not necessarily a boy thing. And for decades now, it's been a boy and girl thing, right?
Yeah.
Did you ever collect comics? You just know all about them. He's just
yeah,
talking
and
about
I
them?
think with my dad, I definitely like had a couple of comics growing up. I definitely had some Archie comics, Wonder Woman. I was a big fan of Poison Ivy, and then later on I got into more like modern comic books. So I have some like Adventure Time, and then some of the alt universes through the Adventure Time series, and then recently I collected some like Buffy the Vampire comics and stuff like that. So I think with me, like love of comics also has turned more like modernized, where now I have something called like Webtoon Comics, which is an online series of comic books that you can read that I can just pull up my phone and then look up a bunch of different kind of like comic book style, flip through them on my phone, and I love those because it's quick, easy, but again, no value within those because they're all online on my phone.
Part of the death of print, but there'll always be comic books, thank goodness.
Yeah.
And you can't smell them.
You can't. That's one of my weird things. Is I love to smell a vintage comic book. I just love the way they smell, the print, and like even newspapers. So okay, so I was looking for a comic book for my niece Molly, who's 10, as we're live, and so I said, "Oh, I know. I'll get her this Dennis the Menace comic book because it's summertime and they just went on a nice summer vacation. Look at that cover. Dennis the Menace goes to Jamaica. Well, inside is a horrifying true story called The White Witch, and it's just a 2-page thing, and it's about the legend of the White Witch. This is absolutely true. Look up on YouTube videos, just Google search The White Witch, and you'll find out. I'm going to show you this artwork. Her name was Annie Palmer, and she, get this, murdered, allegedly, 3 of her husbands. I believe it, and she also murdered slaves. And then fortunately, I don't believe in murder, but supposedly slaves came back and murdered her in her bed as she slept. I think this would be an incredible movie. I can't believe it's not been made into a movie. And I did some preliminary research and I have not seen evidence of a movie. Me! I'm going to make this movie if I can help it, if I can get budgeting. That was loud. I'm sorry. You could probably hear me. I'm going to make this movie, I hope. Or I'm going to get hopefully some backing. But look at this. The White Witch. This is so crazy. Okay. Is it on camera?
Yes, it is.
Okay. No, it's a white woman killing black slaves. It's terrible. Well, that's probably why it hasn't been made into a movie. But she gets her comeuppance.
Right, the vengeance.
That's what I'm saying. The vengeance of the slaves. So, oh shit, it was just the case. Excuse me. Let me just read this to you, as you can see. This is very brief, folks. The legend of Rose Hall. Rose Hall was her plantation and her mansion and her property. And this is a Dennis the Menace comic book. This is what blew my mind. The White Witch, Annie Palmer. Annie Palmer, the mistress of Rose Hall, was beautiful and cruel. She could charm people or terrify them. Danny's falling asleep over there. Or terrify them. She ruled Rose Hall with an iron hand and by magic. She had studied witchcraft in Haiti and believed in evil spirits. Her slaves were convinced that she could conjure up a fiery horse that would pursue them to their doom. The beating of slaves was common. Annie Palmer also had them tortured and killed. Look at that picture of that poor guy getting chased by a flaming horse. Oh, listen to this. It's just so matter-of-factly put in this Dennis the Menace comic. One of her favorite pastimes was to dress up as a man and ride around her plantation at night, laying her whip on anyone she found outside her orders to stay off the property. Here's the other final page. It's very brief. I just found this to be shocking, and I did not give this comic book to my niece for this reason. Here it is. Annie Palmer. Oh, I got to get this on camera because I love the artwork. It's just so bizarre. Well, it's already destroyed. It's not in very good shape. Okay, thank you. So here's the end of the story. Annie Palmer was married 3 times. She said her first husband died of a fever. The slaves said he was poisoned. She said her second husband went mad. The slaves said he was strangled. The third husband disappeared. But one room at Rose Hall was closed and locked forever. Slavery was coming to an end, thank God. And so was Annie Palmer. Nobody knows. Some said they saw her ghost roaming the Rose Hall seeking revenge. Here and oh, geez. Don't let your comics get wet. Oh, my picture. Oh, damn it. He spilled a drink. Today, Rose Hall near Montenegro Bay, near Montego Bay, is being restored to what it once was, the finest great house in Jamaica. The vast plantation lands will be covered with beautiful homes, a golf course, resort hotels, a fine beach club. And this is the modern ending to the legend of Rose Hall. And then the final panel, Dennis's dad, Dennis the Menace, says, "That's a real ghost story, eh, Dennis?" And Dennis says, "Yeah, I guess that lady thought every day was Halloween. Ha, 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 ha." I mean, this is a 1977 Dennis the Menace comic book. I thought that was just like inappropriate and sad and just.
For what is best known as a children's comic book.
Yeah. I mean, and those images of like this lady on a horse, flame. It's a kid's comic. I know. And I guess they thought it was educational. So one other thing I'm going to show briefly. Danny knows about this. My mom is a great comic book mom. Is this on camera, Danny? My mom painted back in the 80s on my wall when I was a little kid, this awesome mural. How do you say that? Mural? Mural.
A mural?
Thank you. Of Amazing Spider-Man, Hobgoblin, and the Green Goblin. I hope that's on camera. And it's just an awesome memory of a house that they wound up selling. They built another house, Odin's Way. And the address of that house is in the comic book fan letter that they published that I sent in back in 1984 in The Incredible Hulk issue number 296 that we talked about at the very beginning of this show when I talked about how I've been a lifelong UFOs fan. I mentioned them in my letter to the editors and writers of the Incredible Hulk comic book back in the day. So that Spider-Man image, that was originally on the cover of Spidey Super Stories with Shanna, the she-devil, who's Kazar's gal in the comic books. And the image of the Green Goblin was from Amazing Spider-Man issue number 136, drawn by Ross Landrew. And then the Hobgoblins from issue number 238 of Amazing Spider-Man, the first appearance of the Hobgoblin. And that was a great cover by the late, great John Romita Sr., who passed away in June 2023. We were very sad to hear about that. So, And yeah, just another thing about me. Yes, I created Madcap. I called him Happy. I won't go into detail. Danny's sick of me talking about it, but in case you didn't hear the story, I submitted artwork, and Danny is one of my witnesses, along with Jeff Logan. Anyway, and this guy, what was his name? God, he died in 1996. I know it. He got credit for creating Madcap.
So I have to talk about this like every.
Okay, we don't. We're going to move on. We're talking about grading. I know we don't.
talked about this.
Okay, we have. Just look it up. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Okay, grading. Here's an interesting thing. This is a 9.8, and they purposely did it to look like damage because they wanted it to look old. See, damage edition, right? So they did this, they did this. So it's a grader where it's fake damage.
Fake damage.
How do you grade that?
That's a great question.
That's why I brought it. So like, if you look at it and you go, oh no, man, there's color breaking creases, there's this rubbed off, and it's fake. How do you grade that?
Well, you would use the Braille system, I would think, and feel for real creases.
But if I showed that to you,
Just with the naked eye.
and I was like, how would you grade this? You'd be like, oh man, there's this, and this. And it's like, well, no, it's not real damage. It's
If I were sober, I probably could tell it was intentional damage, but you might not. You know. She's doing a good job showing it for the viewers. So yeah, so your point is now did you buy this already graded or did you mail it off to be graded?
bought it graded.
I'm looking at it. Yeah, and it's a takeoff on the first edition of The Tomb of Dracula from 1972, Marvel comic book.
So if you didn't see the grade and you just saw that and that and that and that,
I mean, they do
And
make
that-
it look
Well, yeah.
intentional. though.
but if this was not in a slab with a grade and you saw that and that and that,
Yeah, I was about to say this is this, and then on the spine are more believable. But the coloration of that is so off that I feel like, I mean, it looks intentional. But these definitely.
well, dude, they did this like somebody said it like a coffee cup. That's what that's about. It is entirely fake damage.
Okay.
So
Well, you got a 9.8 on it.
if it wasn't
So clearly
slabbed,
they knew.
Yeah.
but if it wasn't slabbed, and I was just presented it to you guys,
Just for the sake of argument. Yeah, and for poops and giggles.
I would agree with you, though. It then would be about the feel of it. I think the things that would throw me off would be not the breaking, because the breaking on it just looks fake, like on the corners. But the crease, especially on the front and the back of the top right corners, those would trip me up a little bit. They did a good job of making those look real. And then on the spine as well, and the coffee stain, that they definitely.
yes,
Look at the price tag. It says 666 cents. Jesus, Lord in heaven. Spooky. Anyway, yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, but I mean, those things definitely would trip me up, and I'd probably give it a lower score just thinking that those were real.
Yeah.
Right. And that was the company, by the way, that CBCS, now that I see it, that graded that Amazing Spider-Man 14 Angry Girlfriend variant 1.8, a 1.8, which was really like a 0.5. If that.
Well, yeah.
All right. Well, any other great? That was a great point, Danny. I mean, that's an excellent point about our discussion of grading. I'm glad you brought this up. I wasn't even aware of this book. That's cool.
It is a 9.6.
9.8. So we're going to start wrapping up the show. I hope that you learned something. I do have another one of my slabs to show you real quick. Oh gosh, it's all the way over here. Fantastic Four issue number 7. I want to ask what you would grade this book. Oh, I didn't tape it up. Well, just look at the. Don't look.
And again, it looks like it has that Newton's.
You're gonna
effect.
see the damn grade, but
It
that's
has the Newton's effect on the front of it. You can see, which is really
But that's not.
interesting. No, that's no damage. I just wanted to point that out since we were talking about that a little bit earlier. I would have probably graded this higher.
really.
Yeah.
I would grade it.
4, 5.
I would grade a little lower. That I appreciate that because of the edge, but yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
We'll get this on front of, in the camera, folks. Hang on. We'll get this on camera. I'll show you on camera while they're mulling that over to see if they think that's a fair grade. This is my receipt. I bought it off eBay back in 2018. December 6, 2018, $344.97. It's appreciated since then. A true 5.5 CGC graded book. First appearance of the creature from Planet X. Gergo, isn't that his name? Gergo? Anyway, Master of Planet X. But what's cool is I had this book stolen from me in a robbery, and I recovered it thanks to CGC and thanks to the fact, here's a plus for CGC and grading in general. There is basically a VIN number for every graded comic book, a serial number. And so I printed this out. This guy robbed it from me, so I called around to local comic book shops. Hey, if you see a graded Fantastic Four 7 5.5, will you call me? And one of them did. Shout out to Book Nook Comic Books in Decatur, Georgia. They called me. I showed up. I had this printed out. Bam, bam, bam. They had to get a DeKalb County police officer there to verify. And he says, yep, that's his book. You got to give it to him. And they only paid $100 to the thief. So they are out $100. And I remember they tried to get me, not the guy who called me, a very honest guy. He's retired. The guy that called me, his son has taken over. Someone that worked there, he wasn't there when I showed up to claim this property was stolen from me, this particular comic. And they said, well, we're out $100. Could you give us something so I can get something to eat? And I said, I'll give you a $20 reward, which I did anyway. And
I would have called up the thief. I'm like, how about you pay him?
Well, what they didn't do is they did not get his ID, which a pawn shop would do. They would get a photocopy of a photo ID, and they had a surveillance camera at the time that wasn't even in operation. It was just for show. Because I was like, oh, you have a camera. When I showed up, you got him on camera. And they're like, nah, it doesn't work. It's like, crud.
Yeah.
So anyway, I didn't really show it for the camera. There it is, guys and gals. Sorry, I'm really bad with the video today. There is a 5.5. What do you think, viewers? Do you think that's less or greater than a 5.5 grade? Let me show you the back.
4.0, 4.5.
And you said you think it's about right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that.
The grade.
It's a cool science fiction cover.
Cool.
All right.
It's a great book. Man.
It's a great book, and you showed us issue 6 earlier, the issue right before that with the holes in it. And then real quickly for the camera, I'm not going to go over all these, but just to show what a UFOs fan, and I guess you could say I'm a UFOs freak I am. Here's some raw copies I have. That I think would grade a 9.8, but you never know. Is that showing up good on the camera? Because it's not great. Okay, well, good enough. All right, there's that one. Look, I got that one. A newsstand. Okay, I'll do this quickly because I know Danny's getting tired. Another newsstand. And another newsstand. All right, you get the point. I hope these guys show up in a Marvel property just because I'm a fan of these books. There's their second appearance in the Incredible Hulk issue 276, third appearance 277. They were created by writer Bill Mantlo and artist Sal Buscema. But check it out, they had a resurgence. There's an Alex Ross painted cover of the UFOs from an August 2021 issue, The Immortal Hulk 43. And then our friend Jeff Logan, who tuned in today, alerted me to this. They came back in December 2021 and January 2022 in 2 issues of The Amazing Spider-Man. But again, these guys are like the evil Fantastic Four. So why the hell have they not battled the Fantastic Four in the comic book? So my hope is a sequel to Fantastic Four, the movie, like Fantastic Four 2 down the line, maybe 10 years from now, there will be like a Superman 2-esque movie. Remember Superman 2, where these villains had the same powers as Superman? It was an epic, it'd be like a throwback thing. Another little tip for you, thanks to, again, Jeff Logan, Gunhawks. They also came back in, I think, 2018. This is the first appearance of these two characters, Reno Jones and Kid Cassidy, a white and black duo of gunslingers. That's the first appearance. And here, this is the second appearance of a solo black character in a Marvel comic book after Luke Cage, Hero for Hire, about 9 months prior to this book. Just a tip. I think these guys could turn up in the MCU. I'm not an investor. Danny's literally asleep over there. You ever show you that cover, Danny?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's all I brought to show for the viewers and for you, Danny. And I guess I'm just going to quickly wrap up. And Danny, did you see the Marvel Secret Invasion yet?
No.
All right. Well, then I won't go on and on about that, but I'll just say.
I've not watched much of recent Marvel releases.
Shame. I'm just teasing you.
The best thing I saw was the Werewolf by Night.
Nope.
Werewolf by Night was great. It's a one-shot for Halloween. Yeah. They did a fantastic job with that. I'll just quickly say I've only watched episode 1 of Marvel's Secret Invasion. I'm hoping it'll be like Quinn Martin's The Invaders television show that I love from the 1960s. Anyway, it was good, but what threw me off, unless I missed something, Nick Cage does not have an eye patch. I don't know what happened to his eye patch. Do you remember him losing the eye patch? Jeff, are you still out there? Anyway, it just threw me. He's not wearing. So you see, like the scar from the cat, which happened in the flashback Captain Marvel movie.
Nick Cage. Wait, Nick Fury.
Did I say Nick Cage? I meant Nick Fury. Scratch that. We're live. Nick Fury. Nick Fury has no patch.
Wasn't a black guy.
Oh, he wasn't. I know that, but that goes back to 2008. Iron Man. The first time we saw him, I have no problem with that. I mean, that happens all the time. I mean, obviously, it wouldn't happen in reverse if you made George Jefferson white. Oh, no. I don't care. But anyway, yeah, he was a white guy.
The ethnicity does not matter to me.
It doesn't matter.
But also the time frame does. Because Nick Fury was Nick Fury and his Howling Commandos from World War II. And the movies did not do any sort of like, how do we get this guy from World War II to...
It wouldn't have worked with the timeline unless they froze him like Captain America. You know what I'm saying?
They did no explanation. They did nothing.
Well, they didn't need to. They sort of reinvented the character, brought him up to date. Because when they introduced him in the movie, it was set in 1995, and he'd already been. I think they said he was in Vietnam.
I mean, but that's a disservice to like the history of Marvel Comics. It's like, dude, like, what you know, Nick Fury, Howling Commandos #1. What year?
1963.
Yeah. And in 1963.
And it was set in World War II.
Set in World War II. So I don't know. As a fan of like Nick Fury and his Howling Commandos and Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. and those comic books, it just to me did a disservice.
Okay, we have a comment from Jeff Logan on this topic. I asked the same thing. When did he lose the patch? So maybe that'll be explained in the series. It probably will be. But and then Jeff also says Nick Fury from the MCU is based on the ultimate version of Fury from a later comic book. Just so you know, I didn't know. Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he lost that eye patch. I thought, Jeff, thanks for. I can't believe you're still with us. We've gone 2 hours and 20 minutes. We'll end it. Show. I see Danny's losing interest, and you've been so great. It's both of your days off. I appreciate you letting me invade your home studio here at Kraken's Lair headquarters, HQ near Athens, Georgia. It's been a lot of fun, and I have to drive back to my bunny rabbit who I left at home. She's got 2 bunny rabbits in the next room. Cute. And a little tiny turtle, like the size of a silver dollar.
Yeah.
If that, a quarter more like. Cute little thing. Will it grow? Of course it will, right?
I hope so.
And then quickly, last thing I'll say, and I'll play the theme, play us out, is that Star Trek Strange New World Season 2, I watched some of the season 2 premiere. as we're live here in June 2023, they drop weekly on Paramount Plus, and it looked really good. I watched about the first 15 minutes. I can't wait to watch the rest of it tonight. Good stuff. And I like it. They show Spot getting the lyre. You know how when Spot played that musical instrument, it's explained he's doing that to control his emotions, and that was never a characterization I'm not aware of from the old show, maybe in the books, but I thought that was cool. And the special effects make that old show, even with the 2006 remastering, look like nothing.
I'm really excited about the Oppenheimer movie, about the guy that created, and pulled together the people that created the first atomic bomb.
Oh yeah.
That dropped the only atomic bombs on people in history. I'm really excited about seeing that movie.
What about Indiana Jones at the end of June? You think I should have left it with the original trilogy? Left him back in the 1980s?
The last movie was such a disappointment that it makes me hesitant to watch the new one, because I don't want to get kicked in the teeth twice. Because the first ones were, it's such a part of my childhood and my history, and it was amazing.
I know you got me into Indy. You got a whip and everything.
Yeah. I was invested.
We saw Temple of Doom together in the theater.
Yeah. So the last movie, it was such a disappointment.
Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. What are they going to name this one now? The Indiana Jones: The Search for the Silver Pillbox. He's old. I hate to say it. He's old. They're probably going to kill him off like they did Han Solo. And I hated how they killed Han Solo off in episode 7. Damn.
Yeah. That was rough. That was rough.
So I will see it, but I'm not optimistic based on that last movie. Like you said, I hope this is a better film, but Spielberg's not directing it, unfortunately. Anyway.
I think you also made a good point of he's getting old. So I'm how much action is he really going to be doing?
And will his son be in it? Shia LaBeouf, the troubled Shia LaBeouf. I don't think he is. I haven't seen him in the cast.
Yeah.
Sponsored by Ben Gay.
But I think where they've messed up is characters are eternal. How many James Bonds have there been? You'll know.
20.
Right. It's the character. It's not the actor. And I think where they've really screwed up the Indiana Jones franchise is using the same actor. It's dude, the character is cool. You created a really strong, he is his professor. He is his archaeologist. He's out there in the jungle. He's in the shit. But it's dude, to keep the same actor portraying the same character, it's no longer compelling. I want a young Indiana Jones. I would rather see you recast this.
Then cast it with the same guy.
I don't want to see 80-year-old Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
I agreed. That's why it was tough for me to see Christopher Reeve in his final days. I supported him, but it makes me so sad. I don't want to remember him with the shaved head and as a quadriplegic. I just don't. It's just sad, It's
about the character, and it's as much as people might fall in love with the actors and what they do for a franchise,
it's a character.
It's a character, and you have to remember that it's a character that will live on much longer than the actor will.
How many people?
Amen, sister.
When does the cycle start and stop? When does one person pass the torch? And similarly to James Bond, and Spider-Man as well, there's constantly, after a certain amount, 3 movies, 4 movies, there's a different person. And it's okay, and people accept it because it's not canon. It's not a part of the series itself for the actor to be involved. It's about the character.
And people can debate about
but it's Harrison Ford, blasphemy. I know. I agree with you.
Yeah, he's awesome, and nobody debates that Harrison Ford is not a wonderful, great actor who has contributed to many different series that people love. But Harrison Ford, how old is he now?
He's not
like,
Indiana Jones
he's
anymore.
like eight, like
He
80.
is not
I'm like, man,
Indiana
you're-
Jones
Think about
anymore.
think
up
about
there.
this. When Star Wars was made, he was 35 back in 1976, or might be 34, 35 when it came out. Shot in
Yeah.
76,
Yeah.
released 77. I mean, he's old.
I know. I mean, like, you have to be savvy in casting. I like the Han Solo movie. It didn't.
I did too.
It didn't do well, but I liked it.
Yeah.
And I know it's hard for people like to sort of like where you identify with an actor as a character, but it's been done so many times.
Yeah.
Where, like I said, like to me, like James Bond. How many James Bonds have there been?
There was Sean Connery, then there was George Lazenby, then there was Sean Connery again,
There was one.
then there was Roger Moore.
There was one before Sean Connery.
I said that, George Lazenby. You weren't listening. I'm just kidding. George Lazenby, the Australian, he did Under Majesty's Secret Service, and which had a strange Christmas plot to it, by the way, subplot. And then he came back in Diamonds Are Forever, and then Roger Moore, and then Timothy Dalton, Pierce Brosnan, and then Daniel Craig, and now we don't know.
Yeah.
So to prove your point, you kids are right. Now we better start. I can tell y'all have been so patient with me. Appreciate it. And I saw Spider-Verse, the second one, loved it.
I really want to see it. I haven't
I won't
seen
spoil
yet.
it.
My friend has seen it 3 times already. She wants to see it again.
One thing that you'll love in it, there's little cameos. This isn't a spoiler, believe me. The little spider buggy is in it briefly, which is in Amazing Spider-Man 129 key issue, first appearance of Punisher and Miles Warren, and he made all the clones, the Jackal and the Spider Buggy. So that's going to make that book even more desirable to collectors. And also the music I've been playing every time you showed a comic book grade, this little bar. Theme that you're hearing there that's been done ad nauseum in like Spider-Man 2, Tobey Maguire. But that's the rarest piece because it always got cut. That was a Spider-Man next in color. That dun 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 dun. It was a special separate. That little piece of music was in the movie and it made me happy. And they showed the cover of Spider-Man 19, where he's on the web, Amazing Spider-Man swinging. They show that image from the comic book when that little bit of music played. And it's just such a niche little thing. I loved it because it has a lot of stuff with the new characters, and I like the little nod to the old. Anyway, it was good.
Do you have was it Spider-Verse 2?
That's what I saw in the theaters. I don't have it because it's not out yet. As we're live, it's still in movie theaters. No, sir, I don't.
The first appearance of like Gwen Spider. Gwen.
I don't have that modern stuff. You do, don't you?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I collect 1960 to 1993 with some exceptions, Marvel and some DC. But okay, all right, y'all are patient. I know that Savannah has got to be dying over there to move on, and kill the show. So I'm gonna end the show. So I'm going to end it, and I'll do a live pod blast in a week or so, talking about the new movies like Transformers and Elementals and other stuff. I could go on and on. So thanks for tuning in. Danny, thank you for allowing me into your home studio. Nice to meet you, Savannah.
Yes.
At last, I've heard great things about you. I'm sure you heard terrible things about me. We'll see you and have a great week. Thanks everyone for watching. See you next time on the Podblast. Tuning in, y'all.